locally for the Carolinas. Rob Brown Show. Yeah, only on ESPN. ESPN Upstate.
What's Dusty Rhodes' favorite country in the Middle East? You understand? 9 hit me with that earlier this morning, and Lonzo almost lost my mind. You understand? Dusty Rhodes, you understand? Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is on the air. It's Friday, and I'm feeling frisky is all I'm going to say.
I'm just getting...
Dusty Rhodes. The American dream, Dusty Rhodes. I bet you 9 got the best Dusty Rhodes. I thought I had a pretty good Dusty Rhodes, but I bet you 9 got the best Dusty Rhodes in the building. You understand? He put up a picture that said, "What's Dusty Rhodes' favorite country in the Middle East?" You understand? What's up, South Carolina? I'm Rob Brown. Lonzo had no idea that was coming out of the gate at all. What a day! What a day, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be busy on the broadcast today. Glad to have you along for the ride. I am Rob, directly across the glass from me. He is dystopian nightmare, the great one, the pinnacle of professionalism, the alpha, the omega of ESPN Upstate, the conductor of the symphony of sound that is the Rob Brown Show. Hashtag Dad Kicks, Colonel Grudge. Lonzo, what up, Zo?
I'm still recovering from that. That was really good. It really was. I nearly laughed out loud.
I saw you. You were borderline. Lonzo has a quiet laugh, a very quiet laugh. I'm trying to think. I've probably heard Lonzo audibly laugh 4 times since I got here. In fact, I could not describe Lonzo's laugh to you now that I think about it. It's now he'll smile and he'll have all of the visual signs of a person who is laughing, but he doesn't actually make a sound. I've even seen the shoulders kind of bounce a little bit, like the big smile and the shoulder bounce, but I've never actually. I think I've probably heard an audible sound 3-4 times. So. I'll tell you what. Contest today, somebody make Lonzo laugh. I don't know what the prize is yet, but if somebody can make Lonzo audibly laugh, and I will be the judge because Lonzo will turn his microphone off before he laughs on the air. All right?
I've laughed on the air before. I don't know why. Maybe I have one of those laughs that people will make fun of.
I think you don't like even though the whole premise of a radio show is to be the center of attention, you still don't like being the center of attention. That's why you told me earlier there are restaurants you will avoid when you realize that somebody there recognizes you.
Yeah, but that's just because people watch me eat. And it's not like, hey, nice to meet you, and then they move on. They go get other people to stand out and watch me.
I think that you don't like being the center of attention, and let's be real, laughing makes you the center of attention because everybody immediately goes, oh, what's that guy laughing at? And they want to know, right? Go into any room where everybody's kind of just having a regular day and start laughing out loud, and people will go, what's that guy laughing at? And if you keep doing it, he'll go, uh-oh, what's that crazy guy laughing at? But they will still make you the center of attention. Anybody who can make Lonzo laugh today, if you can call in and do it, if you can send a joke on the text line that you think will get so, if anybody can make Lonzo laugh today, I don't know what the prize will be.
Well, let me tell you.
I do know what the prize will be.
What will it be? You get to hear me laugh. That'll be the prize.
I will invite you out and pay for one night for you to join in Stoneman's Bad Bowlers Club. Which is starting up in a couple weeks.
There you go. Can't wait to be able to tell everybody the details about that. There may be one reason why Rob has never really heard me laugh out loud. It's because for a time, he and I shared an office with one Chris Evans. And Chris Evans, the loudest human being when it comes to laughing or sneezing, second only is Rob Brown. So
you're building
yelling.
no.
Oh, yeah.
Stone Man grunts, and I hear him from the other side of the building.
You guys had a conversation, I think it was yesterday. I started getting a headache because as you get excited, the DBs go up.
That's true.
I mean, they go up so much. It's like, are you guys talking across a chasm? What are you doing? Stop. You're like 3 feet away. Stop yelling. But, I don't want to be rude and say, hey, you guys are being kind of loud because knowing you guys, you'll just get louder. So I'd just sit over there and consider putting my headphones on. It's like, my God, my head hurts. So when you guys laugh, you laugh really loud. If I'm laughing along with you, my laugh would just get lost in it.
Fair enough.
So no need to call in and try to make me
Oh,
laugh.
no. See, now he's just trying to get out of it, and I don't want that to happen. Now he's just trying to get out of it. August 27th today, International Just Because Day. It is National Just Because Day. So have at just cause, Lonzo. Just cause. Let's get to the lunch breakdown. What do you say? Let's get the day started.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
The lunch breakdown! The 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. This shall be the scuttlebutt. These will be the things that your amigos and coworkers who are amigos will be discussing. We start with item number 1 on the lunch breakdown today. Texter writes in at 71307 and says, Rob, I texted in yesterday right before the show started about Cristiano Ronaldo to the EPL, and now I hear Man City is out of negotiations. What gives? I thought they used the words done deal. Is Man United in the running? A return to Man United for CR7. Not only are they in the running, Zoe, get the glass ready for me if you don't mind, because it is official. It is happening. Cristiano Ronaldo, breaking news, has signed a deal with Manchester United. CR7, the 36-year-old, returning to Old Trafford. Reported in June that Ronaldo's representatives were gauging interest from some of Europe's top clubs ahead of his potential to partner from Juventus this summer after 3 years in Italia. And everybody yesterday thought that City was the destination, which of course would have made the return interesting when the derby took place between those two teams, his former team and what we thought yesterday would be his new team. But Man City is asking Juventus for a transfer before the transfer deadline was hitting, and now the 5-time Champions League champion, 4 with Real Madrid, the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner, and the first World Player of the Year as a United player in 2008, will now make his way back to Manchester United. The greatest football they're not. That's just from a movie that I saw many years ago, and I can't stop quoting it. Euro Trip. Great movie. Anyway, Cristiano Ronaldo back with Man United. And while we're at it, Champions League draw has taken place. We know our groups now. It was set down yesterday. Group A features Cristiano Ronaldo's Manchester City, or excuse me, would have been Cristiano Ronaldo's Manchester City. It was interesting for that at the time possibility. Now, of course, he will join Manchester United City in Group A, along with Paris Saint-Germain, Leipzig, and Club Brugge out of, where's Brugge from? I should know that already. Anyway, joins those three teams. And then Group B, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, Porto, and AC Milan. Group C, Sporting CP, Borussia Dortmund, Ajax, and Besiktas. Group D, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Sheriff are in Group B. Group E, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Benfica, and Dynamo Kiev. Group F, Villarreal, Manchester United, Atalanta, and the Young Boys out of Switzerland. Group G, Lille, Sevilla, Salzburg, and Wolfsburg are all in Group G. And Group H features your reigning defending undisputed Champions League champions, Chelsea. They draw Juventus, Zenit out of St. Petersburg, and Malmo. So that's where it stands right now with your Champions League item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. You know what? I got time, and it's something that I think that you guys need to hear. Lonzo, if you don't mind grabbing me clip number 4. This clip, and I'm going to play it here, and it goes a little long. It's about, 3 minutes? About 3 minutes. But I want you to listen to it because it is baseball history. This is what happened last night.
Nick Gordon lead things off, center fielder for Minnesota.
I got a message the other night from Nick's father, Tom, and he's listening to the games right now. And Tom, trust me, I will call Nick and speak with him about what we talk about. Just wanted to let him know.
But you're going to hide what it was.
Yeah. It's just, just to talk. I told him I'd talk to him after this series.
Uh-huh.
So it's just a matter of, him getting the confidence and everything else, being a rookie in the league.
You call him Tom. I can't think of him without calling him Flash.
Oh, yeah.
One of the best curveballs I ever saw.
Oh, my goodness.
Swung on and missed. He strikes him out. Gordon down. And that is 4 Ks in the book already for Chris Sale.
Look at this pitch. Goes up in the zone. That's one of those pitches I keep mentioning. You cannot catch up to that ball. That's a pitcher's pitch. You got to love it. When he has a feel for that and keep it in that location, he's going to be tough.
Simmons batting just .220.
And then you come back with that changeup? Wow.
Well, he's always been so much more than just a hurler. Fouled off 0-2. Simmons 1 for 6 off him.
You know what? You're absolutely right. And with that trivia question, Roger Clemens, Pedro, and Chris Sale, those are 3 special type pitchers. I mean, velocity-wise, they can put it exactly where they want to put it. That's an elite category.
Not an easy question either with those 3. 95 to strike him out. Back-to-back Ks here in the 3rd inning for Sale.
And there's that pitch again. Fastball up in the zone. And it looks so good coming in because Chris Sale, his release point is 3/4. And that ball, it actually looks like it's elevating as it comes up. From the hitter's perspective, it really does look like that.
Yes, an optical illusion,
Exactly.
But yes. Ref Snyder now, he whiffed to begin the ball game. He looks at a strike. That's a slider. Or is he mixing it up?
Mixing it up very well.
Quickly 0-2. So Chris Sale has thrown in this inning, folks, 8 strikes. And he has 2 down. Trying to put away is Simmons. And he got him. An immaculate inning for Chris Sale. 1, 2, 3, they go.
3 outs, 9 pitches. And why is that a big deal? Chris Sale joins Sandy Koufax as the only Major League Baseball pitchers in history to have an immaculate inning. Immaculate inning, of course, being 9 pitches, 3 up, 3 down, 9 pitches. Here's the even better. Sale was making his 3rd start of the year since returning from Tommy John surgery that kept him out all of last year. So he was out all of last year. He was out over half of this year. 3rd start back out, goes out there, throws an immaculate inning, strikes out Nick Gordon on 3, Andrelton Simmons on 3, and Rob Refsnyder on 3 pitches each. He and Koufax, the only guys to have 3 immaculate innings. Lonzo, that what you just listened to, 2 minutes and 45 seconds, an entire half inning of baseball right there. That's an incredible feat. Incredible feat.
I guess I'm just shocked that it hasn't been done more times.
I got nothing. 9 pitches. Here's it. You have to throw 9 strikes or at least 9 pitches that fool a batter into thinking they're a strike and get them to swing and a miss. That's it. You got it. That's tough. It is tough to just throw 9 strikes in a row, right? Even the best pitchers, it is tough to throw 9 strikes consecutive in a row, and doing it against batters that are at the major league level, even tougher.
So on the last pitch, if it's a pitch that the batter is looking at and the umpire, it's obviously a strike and the umpire calls it a ball, would it be controversial? Would there be outrage over it, or would it just move on to the next inning?
Oh no! Remember we had the and it's not. I don't know that it would be quite as big of a deal. But we had the perfect game bid that was blown on a bad call. It was Jim Joyce on Armando Galarraga's perfect game. Lonzo, I can't tell you who pitched I can't tell you anybody who pitched a perfect game so far this year, but I will never forget Armando Galarraga's perfect game bid that Jim Joyce blew on a bad call at first, right? Because that's why it happened. If Chris Sale goes out there and throws 8, so Refsnyder checked his swing, right, or tried to check his swing and failed, and he very, very clearly broke the wrist and went through and swung through the plate, which is the rule to call it a strike. Very clearly, swung the bat, and when he got through it, had the umpire called it a ball, a safe check swing, there would have been Twitter would have lit up. Twitter would have lit up last night, man. Lit up. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we have got an interesting take on Deshaun Watson. There is a Houston beat reporter who believes that Deshaun Watson will not be suspended, will be available to the Houston Texans in week 1, and still won't play. Take a look at that when we come back. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is ESPN Upstate.
You're good.
The Atlanta Braves are set to return to action this evening as they are going to open up a series against the San Francisco Giants, a potential playoff preview. The Braves have won 9 in a row because they played 2 games against the Yankees earlier this week, ended up losing both of them. Max Fried is going to get the start tonight for the Braves. He comes in with an 11-7 record and a 3.49 ERA. Braves are going to match up against a former Brave as Kevin Gausman is going to get the start this evening for the Giants. He enters the contest with a 12-5 record and a 2.47 ERA. This is the first matchup of this year between these two teams. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you'd never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley. High school football fans, I'm Cole Bryson. Get the scores, discussion, interviews, and more on the Saturday Morning Scramble powered by Founders Federal Credit Union. Every Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. It's reverse. Wayne Meadows, right side. Drive. Touchdown. Wayne Meadows. It is a one-score game. Saturday Morning
According to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. That means that 82% of you listening right now will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you can try ZipRecruiter for free today. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Like where this ad plays. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job and actively invites them to apply. 82% of you will also know that I am with my mom. But the most important thing to know is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact,
All right, let's see. Zach Brown says, "Let me know when you want to talk about how bad Miami is going to beat Alabama." Ooh, Zach. I don't do on-air bets very often, buddy, but I might make a little on-air action with you on that one. Caleb sent a link that he said is a long read but guaranteed laugh. All men are 12-year-olds inside, particularly in what we find funny. I don't know, man. Lonzo doesn't always laugh at the same things that make all men laugh.
Well, here's the other thing that's implying that, I'm less of a man, or you could look at it that way. I don't, but I'm not going to purposefully go look for something.
Send the link.
Yeah, but that requires effort on my part. You want to make me laugh. You made me laugh. I'm not going looking for it. So I can't
It would have to be after, and I said you got to make them laugh on the show today. Third Immaculate here, co-facts the only pitchers to have done it 3 times. Yeah, I said that, didn't I? I did say that, right? I think I did. But I'm also an idiot, so maybe I didn't. No, I know I did. I know for a fact I did. Steven, I need you to know, and this may shock you, not every time I leave the room is to go to the bathroom, man. Like, I do have other stuff that I have to do around this building, and my office is actually out of this building or this room. So not every time I get up to go, am I going to. But I would like to thank you for being so concerned with my urinary scheduling. Thank you very much. It's good to know people care,
Don't let him fool you. He's going to the bathroom every single time he leaves his office. Because what possible reason would he have for going to the office? He forgot something, and he wouldn't do such a thing. So he's actually taking a break from me. You got to do that sometimes. It's the aura. It's the glow. It's all encompassing. Sometimes it's overwhelming.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. Deshaun Watson may not get suspended by the NFL. And I got to tell you, I legitimately, when this whole situation was starting up, I legitimately thought that we were going to see Deshaun Watson be put on the commissioner's exempt list. I thought that the commish would take advantage of one of his disciplinary powers and set Deshaun Watson down. Tell Deshaun, here is your, it's not a punishment, but it kind of is, right? We need you to ride this thing out on the pine while the investigations go through. And there is a writer, Charles Robinson, for Yahoo Sports.
Not the referee.
No, not Lil Nate.
Okay,
not Lil Nate.
Hey, he may have more than one job. I don't know.
I'm trying to tell you, man. He may be well diverse in his topics.
He could be.
No, not Lil Nate. Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports penned an article last week. We talked about it on air very briefly. That suggested Texas quarterback Deshaun Watson may not end up on the commissioner's exempt list, despite 22 accusers still having their accusations in public, and many of them with lawsuits, civil attached to them, and the potential for criminal charges to be coming down the pipe sooner rather than later. He is already the subject of civil litigation, and from what we know, is being investigated by Houston and Harris County Police. And we got both attorneys on Remember Monday of this week, both attorneys acknowledging that the Federal Bureau of Investigation is now involved in this. The FBI is now taking this into consideration. So we don't know what's happening. What we do know is that Deshaun Watson has been in and out of Texans training camp. Deshaun Watson has requested his trade before all of this happened. And the Texans have come around on that. Initially said, no, he's a Texan. We're not trading him. To the point that they made it sound like they'd rather him sit at home on the couch than give him what he wants and trade him out. But they have come around on that. Last couple of weeks, it's looked like the Texans were more interested in trading him. Apparently listened to some trade offers. We know there are a couple of teams. The Carolina Panthers are one. I believe the Denver Broncos were one. I believe the Miami Dolphins were one. And there was like one more that apparently actually made an offer to the Texans, though none of them necessarily really got them all hot and bothered about making the trade. Well, Charles Robinson has said that he is going to probably miss out on the commissioner's exempt list, meaning he would be eligible to play for the team, but went on to say that they don't think it's going to happen. Remember, the Texans opened their season on September 12th in what would have been a battle of the former Clemson greats, Deshaun v. Trevor 1v1. But Aaron Reese of The Athletic is now writing that the Houston Texans will healthy scratch Deshaun Watson. That is to say, they will sit him. He will probably not travel with the team. He will probably not attend that game, even though he is healthy. And even though he could play, he would not be able to. Reese wrote, quote, the guy's not going to participate for the team this year. They talk about him like he's not going to be the quarterback. They talk about Tyrod Taylor as the quarterback. He's not injured. He's not going on IR. So at least as of this moment, I would say he's just going to sit on the roster as a healthy scratch, end quote. We still know that there is no trade imminent, though offers have been made. And look, we also know that the NFL is notorious for giving second chances very frequently. Well, I told you on the air a couple of weeks ago, I think Deshaun's second chance is going to be a little tougher to come by than some of the other guys, right? Michael Vick. Michael Vick got his second chance. Why? Because he said, I screwed up. He paid his fines. He started giving speeches. He started donating the ASPCA his time and money.
He also did time.
And he did time. Yeah. Exactly right. Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy did a bunch of stuff off the field, but Greg Hardy got his second chance. Ray Rice got his second chance. Ray Lewis got it. The NFL loves giving second chances. The problem here, there's a difference between second chance of dogfighting, second chance of illegal handguns, second chance of a fight, second chance with 22 plus sexual assault claims. Now, I do think the NFL is going to be hanging on and waiting to find out if any of these do go to criminal court and if there are any convictions, if he does go to jail, et cetera, et cetera. But right now, it effectively feels like Deshaun Watson has been a scout team quarterback participating in individual drills, working with a trainer to stay in shape for the trade, and the highest paid player in the Texans organization is going to spend the season in street clothes while the situation plays out. And my response to that, Alonzo, is I am exactly 0% surprised. Of course. Of course. What else was he going to do? You can't play this guy right now, right? You can't play this guy, even if you say, hey, man, go out there and do the best you can because you're going to increase your own trade value. And we've obviously made it okay with looking at trade. If you are the Texans organization who already has an incredible amount of scrutiny being brought down on them just because of how bad they are as an organization, The last thing you need to know is send a guy out there who's under investigation for over 22 different counts of sexual assault, claims, allegations, not counts, pardon me, allegations of sexual assault, make that guy your starter and celebrate him, which you would be doing if you start him. I'm 0% surprised by the fact that he will not be on the roster, even if he does not get suspended by the league.
So you say healthy scratch, so that means he won't be in the building, right? Because that's just as bad as having because that's where the cameras would be the entire time if he's on the sideline watching the game.
He'd be nothing but a distraction if he's even on the bus, if he's even on the sideline, if he's in the weight room, he's a distraction, right? And nothing more than a distraction. So he can't be there at all, I guess is ultimately what I'm saying.
He shouldn't be there, but will he be there?
No, there's no way, right? Like the Texans are a dumb organization.
There's no way come to practice, right? They wouldn't do that.
Good point. It's a good point. I think once again that says more about the Texans than it does anything else. But that's a good point. I think the Texans were going, we got a dude who is potential trade bait. We got a dude who's potential trade bait. We need to keep his value up. How do we keep his value up? We keep him practicing, keep him in shape, keep getting video that we can send to other teams that might be intrigued. I thought it was dumb. They did it anyway.
But you're saying according to sources, some people are interested. So maybe that worked.
Yeah, maybe it did. All right, 844-477-3776. 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. When we come back, Lonzo had a situation happen to him a few days ago that he asked me what my response would have been if it happened to me, and I genuinely didn't know. So we're curious as to what your reaction would have been in this very real-life scenario. We'll ask you when we come back on Robbie's Lonzo. This is the ESPN Upstate. Crazy Train.
No, Dog Lords.
Is that the name of the actual song?
Yeah, that's the name of the song.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, Dog Lord?
Well, if something sounds like another song, they're not going to name it close to that song.
They should have named it Schizophrenic Locomotive. A laugh, ladies and gentlemen. I did it. That was an audible laugh. I heard it from over here.
I snickered.
That's a laugh.
It was a snicker. See, my
So I will pay my own way for bowling.
my uproarious laughter is a guffaw that will make you go, what the heck was that? But you'll never hear it, so we're good. Well, Rob will hear it, but, this goes to prove that people are on my side. They know I don't want to laugh, so they're helping me to not laugh. That's what it is.
My sister-in-law asked why. Josie wants to know why you're dressed like a 12-year-old. Is this shirt like a 12-year-old? And am I about to have to pay for my sister-in-law to go bowling, apparently? Is it that funny? I feel like
No. Find a way to answer that without, I'm over here wearing a Nightwing t-shirt. So what do I know about fashion?
and an unzipped hoodie.
It was cold in the other room, and I'm old. I think the hat is what makes
It's
it.
a backwards hat.
Yeah.
But I would like to point out that if you notice, the color scheme with the hot pink, the dark blue, the light blue matches exactly.
Yeah, I don't see you wear unmatching hats.
No, my hats always match. With rare exception, my hats always match. But I feel like this is just a golf shirt with a hat.
You said you've watched some Dragon Ball Z?
Right in college, yeah.
So did you ever see when Gohan was dressed up for school? Are you looking it up?
You have to show me what you're talking about. Gohan was Goku's kid, right?
Yes.
And like part of the story was his growing up over time, right?
Yeah, it's kid Gohan, not teenager Gohan. Let me see if I can find the picture that I'm thinking of.
That
That's one, but there's one. You know what? I think when he was going to Namek.
I don't know what those words mean.
Yeah, it's Chi-Chi made him wear a hat. Just because that's what I think of doesn't mean that's what other people think of.
And then there's the best. You're listening to the best sports talk show in the station.
All right, so Lonzo comes to me, Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't remember. Whatever day it was.
Oh yeah, I just turned around in my chair, but it's not like I sought you out.
Lonzo turns around in his chair.
I just laughed out loud. Did you hear it? Anybody hear it? It just
Yeah,
happened.
but now you're doing it on purpose. Lonzo swivels in his chair Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't remember what day. Either whatever. And he says something to the tune of, "Hey man, dude, it's super awesome that we do this show together. It's so incredible, and I'm lucky to have you in my life. But also, can I ask you a question?" And I was like, "Yeah, thank you for those nice words. And yes, you may. Fire away."
It sounded uncomfortable. You saying that.
Set the scenario that happened to you, because it's a story about tipping.
Yes. All right. So we're at the eat with my son, and I normally pay with cash. Don't roll me in the parking lot. All right. I'm an old guy, but I like to pay with cash. So when you pay with cash, the waiter usually will take the money away and then bring you back change. The waiter said, I'll bring. He didn't say I'll bring your change back. He said, I'll be right back. I don't remember the exact words, but it was implied that he was bringing my change back. So the change was a lot more than what I would normally tip. And Rob has said that he likes to tip 20%. That was my plan.
Yeah.
Was to tip 20%, but there still would have been money left. But it should be the option should be with me.
Yeah.
Instead, he just never came back.
So it was what? The bill was
It was
34.
it was 32.
$32.
Yeah.
You gave him 40.
Yes.
So you gave him basically it would have worked out to be like $7.5, $8 and change.
Yeah.
Which mathematically turns into about 30%, 27%. I'm bad at math.
And contrary to popular belief, radio,
You don't pay much.
It doesn't. So, I like to keep track of those. I understand post-COVID and even before then, I like to tip a little bit more.
Sure.
And it when you're recognized and you know that there's some people who work at that establishment that know you and what you do, it also factors in. It probably shouldn't, but it does, because you don't want people to go, yeah, you know that Lonzo? Dude tips like 5%. Can you believe that?
So the waiter says, I'll bring you back your change, which would have been about 28%, 30% of the bill, ballpark. Now, I'm the dude that when the bill comes, I'm a 20% tipper for two reasons. Number one, I've waited, I've bartended. I get that sometimes. I get that sometimes it sucks, right? Like that job. And if you're having a rough day, you are still expecting to just flip the switch and be in the best possible mood and make everything perfect. And if you screw up even one, there are people that if you screw up even one thing, they won't tip, or they'll tip 5%. It sucks, right? The people who will leave $1 on a $100 tab because you forgot to refill their water one time while you got 9 tables. I always tip 20%. The second reason I do is because the math is easy, right? Like if the tab is $40, 10% of 40 is $4. You double that to $8, that's 20%. It's super easy to do the math. So I just do the math to 20% and I tip that. But if it's going to work out to where the change is like 30-ish%, because the difference in that situation from 20 to 30% is what? It's like $2, right?
It's not about that, though. Mute me, by the way. It's not about that. It's about them saying they're bringing my change back and not bringing it back. So then you're put in an awkward position. Do you go say, hey, you were supposed to bring my change back?
Yeah. That's
Or do and just go on and then decide, will I come back here again because I feel ill-treated about it, and put it in a situation where I don't want to cause a scene over $1 or $2, but at the same time, so which is better? Asking, do you need your change? If the waiter asks that, I'm usually a little offended by that.
When I was a bartender, the line was always like, if they handed me what equated to 20% less a change or less, I wouldn't ask, right? If they want their change back, they can tell me. If it was like, and that's just the way the game gets played. 20%, if it was more than 20%, I would ask, do you need your change back? Right? And it's not uncomfortable to me if you say yes. But what I would never say is, I'll bring you your change back and then not do that. If I say I'll bring, now, if your bill's $12 and you hand me a $50, I'll say I'll bring you your change back. Because obviously, right? But there's like a $2 difference, which puts Zoe in this weird spot of, yeah, it's only a couple of bucks, but you said you were going to do a thing and you're not doing a thing, and now I got to wait. I think this server played a game with Lonzo, right? Like I think he knew that he could put Lonzo in this weird situation over $3, which, hey, $3 per table over the course of a full day might add up to 25, 30, 35 bucks extra in the tip jar for this guy. But I think he put Lonzo in a situation because Lonzo at this table now has two options, which is one, just eat the $3 loss, in which case, cool, I just made $3 to stack on top of the $3 I make at every other table I do this to. Or Lonzo has to, in front of other people, ask him or the manager, hey, I need you to bring my change back, and realize that he's talking about $2.50 or $3. In which case, other people in the restaurant are going to go, is that guy really just asked for $2 back? Like, really?
And keep in mind, also, as a public figure, and I know
that's what makes it weird for me and him.
And I know who listen.
Yep.
Not necessarily the particular person that was the waiter, but some people in the back. And so I know that they know who I am, and because we've had conversations at that particular restaurant.
Yeah.
So.
And so I'll say this, and this is not meant to sound like an ego statement, though some people think it will. There are situations that play out differently for me and Lonzo and Mark and Diesel and Stoneman and Nine and Fat, and differently for each one of us individually, right? Because it's just the way it works. Like there are restaurants in town that sports bars in town. Most of the time, if I go to a sports bar, somebody at that bar knows who I am. right? Because somebody listens to the show. There's one sports bar in downtown Greenville that I know for a fact has the show on the radio in the kitchen every day. Because I went in there a handful of weeks ago, and one of the guys came out and was like, hey, man, we just wanted to tell you, we listen to you in the kitchen while we're setting up the restaurant every day. And it's a really cool thing. But that does change the way that we handle certain situations, right? Like if I'm not a road rage guy, Lonzo, but if I see somebody doing something really dumb on the highway, I'm not above making sure that they know that I saw them do this really dumb thing. If you swerve across 3 lanes of traffic because you almost missed your exit, I will absolutely salute you as I go over, as I pass you on the interstate. But I've also come to the point where I realize, because this has happened, that there are people who see me driving and recognize me. It's not often. It's like 1 out of every 2,000 cars. But I can't just be like hanging middle fingers outside of the car window, because if somebody who likes me sees me do that, it might change how I am viewed to them.
Perfectly acceptable. But not here.
Right, not here. Let's see. Couple of text responses so far. ESPN, ask for a manager and request your change. Tip reflects service, which doesn't end until the change is received. Thanks. Another one. ESPN, I would have given them the $40 to cover the tip if the service was decent. But if the guy said he was coming back, he should have come back. He put you in an awkward spot. I think he did it on purpose.
Yeah, that was the key. He said he was coming back, and he didn't. And I saw him a couple of times, and there was eye contact.
Yeah, so he knew you were waiting. He was waiting for you to ask.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing. ESPN definitely should have asked the waiter for your change. It's not his right to assume. Texter Sean says, I'd eat the $2 and not go back. But times are tough, and I might need that $2 as much as the waiter. Agreed. The waiter put Lonzo in a very uncomfortable spot over a few bucks. I think he did. I think he intentionally put you in an awkward spot where you either have to gut, because it's kind of a man check too, right? Like it's kind of a gut check to be like, do I really need to cause a scene over $3? Am I really in that spot over $3? Or is it the principle of the thing? But realizing that if you ask on the principle of the thing, the people at the tables around you are going to hear you asking. They're not going to know that the waiter said, I'll bring you your change back, unless you put on a show and go, hey, server, sir, I'm sorry to bother you, but you told me you'd bring me my change back, and I'm still waiting on that.
Well,
I think that's the only way out at that point.
As I'm sitting here, I just thought of something I should have done. I should have waved him over and say, hey, man, can I have a to-go drink? And I still need my change.
Yeah. Well, see, even then, like you're still putting it on you. I think it's, hey, man, can I grab a to-drink? And you told me you were going to bring me your change back. I'm still waiting on that. Right? You told me you would bring it back. I'm still waiting on that. That way you put it back on him so everybody around you knows he said he was going to do that thing, and I'm waiting on that. Not the change. I'm waiting on the principle.
And I know there are some people saying, and you just eat the $2 and walk away. What is the amount where you don't do that, though? Is there
man to man, right? Like if you're a millionaire, you probably don't care.
Right.
But as
or maybe
or a hundo or a grand, it doesn't matter. It's the principle of the guy said he was going to bring you the change back. And you now, if a waiter says, I'm going to bring you the change back, there's a solid chance I'm going to go, no, man, don't worry about it. It's yours. Right. But he didn't do that. He just said, I'll bring you your change back, and walked off. And it wasn't replied to. So now you got to put him in that spot. Hey, man, you said you were going to bring your change back. I'm still waiting on that if you don't mind. You might come across as a little pretentious, but so is he for not putting you in that spot in the first place, right?
Well, in the end, I'm probably not going to go back for a while because it bothered me.
There you
go. So what he's doing is he's costing where he's working business.
Yep, that's fact. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, I'm doing one segment, and then I'm done with it. Max Kellerman spoke with Jake Paul yesterday about boxing. I'll let you know what they said when we come back to the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Actually, we probably won't have to.
We probably will. How long is the clip? I thought I saw a clip. Yeah, it's kind of a lengthy clip. I think we'll have time. So Gamescom the final day is today. So it did last more than a day. Wonder if anything else cool came out. I don't know. Do we have any guests today? Do we have any guests today?
Kevin and John will be coming in at 2:00.
Okay.
I want to love anything as much as Jameis loves looking awkward while doing weird workouts.
All right. So is that a true goatee, or is what is that? Or is it no, I get what you're saying, but that thing, I don't know if that's, does a goatee have to go completely across your chin?
The goatee goes around.
Yeah. Well, what is that then?
I didn't see it. I'll have to look at it again.
He's got like the chin point thing, the rounded chin point thing.
Like, no, there's another name for that.
I don't know what that's called.
Goatee, but it doesn't connect.
Which is what Randy Orton has right now. He's got the mustache and the goatee. I think the goatee is the chin thing. I don't think the mustache is connected.
Mustache and chin beard.
Borderlands Comics and Games has been upstate South Carolina's leader in comics and games for over 30 years. Borderlands has over 300,000 comics, graphic novels.
No, it's not a goatee.
It's not a chin strap. I know what that is. That's the whole.
Yeah, so chin strap, but like a chin strap is a very thin line of hair. It's a thin, like a real thing, and it literally follows your jawline around.
Except when I weighed
straps, because it accentuates.
In my case, it accentuated how big my neck was, which I'm fine with. Look at my neck, not my fat face. Yeah, that's how that worked. When you weigh that much, you fool yourself into thinking that some things look better.
Yeah, let me see. I actually had, I think I had some pictures from my goatee days pop up on my Facebook memories today.
One thing you should never do is shave all the way off like Otis did, though, because that's just like.
You're about to see Skinny Rob. Oh, this wasn't really goatee. All right, so you're about to see Skinny Rob from right after his goatee days. So this is me and a guy named Pat Dooley who used to cover for the Florida Gators. And it's not great because I can't zoom in anymore.
30 seconds. It just looks like what you got now. I mean, just.
Yeah, but you can see the outline of the goatee, right? Like you can see the outline of what the goatee used to be there.
That's like Mark Ryan showing me that he's supposedly shaved. It still looks like what you got there. It's a thinner in the spot.
That's thin Rob right there. That's when Rob used to be like 205, 210 and in shape. I gotta get back. I gotta stop being so much of a person, y'all. Clip 3, if you don't mind, Lonzo. I think we got time. Max Kellerman and Jake Paul.
Jake, I think you're doing it just right in terms of managing your career development little at a time. But you know what they'll say
Max,
if you win. Woodley was old. He was losing. He could strike, but that really wasn't his background, et cetera, et cetera. Meantime, if you go back to the time that I said earlier that your fights were actually made, I didn't know you beat Nate Robinson. I don't know. You're a YouTube guy. I don't know you beat Nate Robinson, right? I didn't know you beat Ben Askren. Again, you were a YouTube guy. He wasn't a striker, but he'd been in fights professionally. And by the way, I don't know that you'll beat Tyron Woodley. Why do you think people keep moving the goalposts on you? Because you know if you win, what they're going to say.
You know, highly viewed, highly criticized, Max. That's the society we live in these days. And, you know, I think people are expecting me to fight, you know, the best fighters in the world. I think they want me to fight Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua just to see if I would get knocked out. I think that's what people want, is they just want me on the canvas. And so they're like, screw all of this, sign yourself up for a knockout. But all I've done is continue to increase my level of opponents with each fight and continue to challenge myself. You know, I had high confidence that I would beat Nate Robinson, but I didn't know, like you said. I go and I win. I had a high confidence I would beat Ben Askren, but I still didn't know. I was like, this guy is legit. I have a high confidence that I'll beat Tyron Woodley, but it's not a walk in the park. This is one of the greatest welterweights of all time. And so if you look at anyone who is 4-0 in boxing, they have never headlined their own event, Showtime pay-per-view, sold out an arena, and are fighting guys who are decorated strikers. You know, most 4-0 fighters are fighting tomato cans.
Kiss my ahem grits, Jake Paul.
It's exactly what I said yesterday in Fight Club, that he's building himself up to something. And I asked you yesterday, when legitimate?
When a boxer fights a boxer, that's boxing.
Well, do you consider him a boxer?
No.
So then he'll never be legitimate.
Boxes a boxer, then I'll go, okay, he's a boxer.
That was my
moment here. Fine. Jake Paul's a boxer. Now fight a boxer. This whole, people just want to see me fight Tyson Fury and get knocked out. No, bro. I want to see you fight a boxer. That's all. Nobody's asked you to go up against Anthony Joshua. Nobody's asked you to get in the ring with Vladimir Klitschko. I'm asking you to fight a boxer. Just a boxer. Just pick a professional boxer and fight him. This is such, I got so much more to say. I wish I'd have given myself more time. I may come back around to this later. Hour 2's, why did I do this to myself the last segment? I was having such a good day. Hour 2's up next on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
The Atlanta Braves are set to return to action this evening as they are going to open up a series against the San Francisco Giants, a potential playoff preview. The Braves have won 9 in a row, but then they played 2 games against the Yankees earlier this week, ended up losing both of them. Max Fried is going to get the start tonight for the Braves. He comes in with an 11-7 record and a 3.49 ERA. The Braves are going to match up against a former Brave. Kevin Gausman is going to get the start this season for the Giants. He entered the contest with a 12-5 record and a 2.47 ERA. This is the first matchup this year between these two teams. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard the Rob Brown Show?
Chris Laws, president of the Greenville Tri-Fan, congratulations to you guys. As if winning a trophy wasn't enough, what you guys have accomplished has been nothing short of impressive. Just in my short time here in the Upstate, I'm glad to be able to chat with you guys and be a part of it. So congratulations to you as well, Chris.
Thanks very much, Rob. We appreciate your support as always. And before we go, real quick, you should get some credit too, because John told me that back at UNC, the championship evening, really locked things up for me. He said, if we can get celebrities like Rob Brown to do things like that, then I'm in.
Well, I mean, I'll print that on a T-shirt and wear it around so everybody believes you. Thank you very much. I'm gonna accept that very sarcastic accolade as 100% true. Thank you.
If it's on a T-shirt or the internet, it's gotta be true, right?
It's gotta be true.
Hey, Greenville, Spartanburg, it's the Rob Brown Show, weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN Upstate.
All right, so how many times did you put that in there? There are other promos in there. Tell me you didn't take them out.
Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. I am Rob Brown. Back in the network studio, my man. Back in the network studio. I'm looking at him.
But I am.
Was walking. I was going to say back in the network studio, Mr. Roberts in the building. That's what I was saying. I saw his reflection in the glass, and I saw him come in. I was like, boom, Robert's back in the network studio.
You're going to blame Robert for you.
I'm not blaming him.
Okay.
I'm saying that's what was happening.
All right.
I said back in the network studio. I said back in the network studio as Robert was walking in. Robert is technically back in the network studio. He wasn't in, and now he's here again. Therefore, he's back in the network studio. I was correct and have not made a single mistake today. That's why we got hardware. That's why we got a trophy.
I cannot dispute that because, I would never go against a host.
Never.
Never.
It's
not who I am.
Yeah,
I'm compliant and agreeable.
Of course.
With everyone.
Of course. Compliant. First adjective I think of when I think of Lonzo. Compliant, ladies and gentlemen. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show. Can I go? You know what? I'm going to go back and finish up that Jake Paul. I can't not do it. I got to go back and finish up that Jake Paul thing. Cup of things here, Jake.
Maybe you should recap for those, just tuned in. Just
that's true.
Quick recap,
right.
Hour to hour type thing.
It was like 5 minutes ago. But yeah, all right, that's fine.
It's not really correcting the host. I'm helping.
Compliant.
That's me.
So we played a clip for you about 9 minutes ago. Max Kellerman, who is, I don't know, I think it's fair to say he's kind of the voice of boxing for this generation. Replaced, I don't know, who was the voice of boxing for the last generation?
That one dude that was on Showtime, Larry something.
Nah, he was one before that.
Howard Cosell.
Howard Cosell.
That sounded like Stephen A. Smith, but
Anyway, Jay Paul was talking to Max Kellerman, and Kellerman said, hey, man, I think you're doing it the right way, right? Like you're developing yourself. You're leveling up your opponents. Level up. Jake Paul said, yeah, of course I am, man. I'm leveling up my opponents. I'm getting a little bit better every single fight. And then he had the most ridiculous thing said that I've ever heard. That's not true, but yeah, I didn't like it. He said, well, we're in a high visibility, high criticism era, Max. If people see you being out there on TV, they just want to hate you, Max. No, Jake. No, we don't. That you got famous because people liked you and wanted to see you. Back in your more likable early YouTube days, Jake and Logan Paul got famous because they lived in, I want to say Minnesota. They lived in Minnesota, and then they decided that they wanted to get social media famous during the cusp of the influencer era. So they moved to LA. They got social media famous, him and the little brother, Logan. They bought a mansion, and then they just started doing stuff on YouTube. And for a while, at the beginning of the career, for a while it was okay. They just did goofy stuff. They goofed off around their house. Kind of stuff that Lonzo and me and Diesel have sat around and said, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we did this stuff on a stream on Facebook one day? Diesel and I are trying to figure out when we can go live to do a chip competition, like a golf chipping competition live on Facebook. Except for we're going to do it in various rooms around the radio station, and the goal is to chip a ping pong ball into a trash can. but we're going to do it around people to aggravate them.
I almost bought hallway bowling.
Yeah.
I seriously,
Yeah.
I was looking at it. It was like $15.
How fun would it be to not tell somebody to like go down by the big boss's office, set up bowling pins on one end, and bowl through their offices without letting them know we're doing it?
Well, the Rise guys have like taser bowling, so it's a little bit lame.
I'm less interested in that.
Yeah.
Significantly. But the point is, that kind of stuff's fine. Jake Paul, do you know when you started getting criticized? It was when you went and you started filming yourself with the bodies of people who hung themselves and committed suicide. Oh, high visibility, high criticism. Do you know when you started getting criticized? It's when you started damaging people's property and going, hey, just a prank, bro. It's just a prank. No, screw you. You're being a jerk. People don't get criticized just because they're visible. They get criticized when they do. Okay, Texter says Pauls are from Ohio. Okay, Ohio, not Minnesota. Somewhere in the midst. One more of yours, Lonzo. One more of yours. You proud of the Paul brothers repping O?
Just as proud as you are of all the things that happen in Florida.
My point stands. My point stands. The dude has been an ass for a long time. So yeah, I will be honest. As the last texter that said, blank Jake Paul, hate that kid. How has nobody just beat the living blank out of him yet? Because he hasn't fought anybody who will or can.
Or maybe he actually is serious about his training and he's learned enough to defend himself and actually win fights. Unlike, let's say, some guy who went from wrestling to UFC and went in and just got his face beat out. And then everyone's okay with that. But Jake Paul, and I hate that you're putting me in a position of defending this guy, but I
Couple of things here. Let me start. I may shock you here, Lonzo. Let me Texter says, I'm not even talking in the ring. Obviously, he literally hasn't fought a boxer yet. I'm talking on the street. How has no one on the street beat the living blank out of that guy?
That is a great question.
That's a great a nice thing about Jake Paul. The guy's got himself in phenomenal shape to be a boxer.
I just laughed out loud again, by the way.
I know. It's not funny anymore. You took the fun out of it.
Well, yeah.
You took the fun out of it.
That was funny, Keegan.
The dude's gotten himself in incredible shape to be a boxer. Okay? I'll give him that. The guy looks like a boxer. He's even got, when he's in the ring, tell you the truth, he looks like a boxer in the ring. Now,
you know what? He doesn't look like an actor trying to pretend to be a boxer in a movie.
I agree with you.
He looks like
a boxer.
He's put in the training to be a boxer.
I agree with you. I agree with you entirely. He does not look like a guy who is doing this just to be a YouTuber. He looks like a guy who's trying to win a boxing fight. I have no issue with that. But as he pointed out in an article that popped up on ESPN about him the other day, you know what he said in the middle? I'm an entertainer and I'm doing this for entertainment. Now, part of being big in the boxing game is entertainment. That's why guys like Tyson Fury make it to the top and guys like Anthony Joshua, who's not as much of a showman, aren't as known, right? I make the argument that Anthony Joshua, I don't know that he is, and we will get to find out in the next 12 months. Maybe. Anthony Joshua might be as good as Tyson Fury. Maybe better. Maybe. But Tyson Fury has more fans. Why? Because he's a showman. Jake Paul gets the game. I'm not faulting him. He gets the game. Here's what I fault him for. Fight a boxer. He fought Nate. I got to tell you, Lonzo, how old is Nate Robinson now? Nate Robinson's got to be in his 40s now. Nate Robinson, born. Oh, no, he's my age. He's a year older than me. Okay. He's 36.
So what you're saying
37. He's
is
37.
You could take Nate Robinson.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'm not a professional athlete.
Yeah, but you spend a lot of time around boxing, so you understand all that stuff. So if you wanted to get into it now, you could be Nate Robinson, right?
No, I don't think I could because, again, he's got a lifetime of being a professional athlete. I'm a 36-year-old fat, out-of-shape dude. By the time that I got myself into shape to get into the boxing match, I'd be 38 years old. All right? It would take me 2 years to get into that shape. I don't think I could beat Nate Robinson. I'm saying I'm not a professional boxer. Jake Paul claims to be. Fight somebody and stop being a clown. So he's got to fight this weekend.
All right. So I have a question while you're looking that up. So how do you become a professional boxing?
You box.
If you're getting paid to box someone, aren't you technically a professional at it? I'm not.
Cold truth. Yes. Technically speaking, Jake Paul's a professional because he gets paid. You know what? You're right. You're right. But if you're a professional boxer who does not fight other professional boxers, right? By that definition, you and me could go down to the boxing gym in Greenville, get somebody to give us both $20 to lace them up and throw around, and we could go, we're professional boxers. No. Lonzo, am I a professional wrestler? I have wrestled a match in a professional ring.
Did you get paid for it?
Yes.
Then you're a professional wrestler.
I'm a professional wrestler, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure if I went up to Kevin Nash and told him, hey, Kev, Diesel, I don't know why I went with Kevin Nash as my first example.
Because you wanted to go against someone really old because you thought maybe you had a shot. You still wouldn't have a shot.
Hey, Scott Steiner, Rob Brown.
Yeah, he's so roided up he can't move anymore, so you got a shot at him.
Wrestler. See, here's the thing. If I went into the AEW locker room and I said, I'm a professional wrestler, and therefore I would like a professional wrestling match, they would hurt me because I'm not. I'm not one. Jake Paul's not a professional fighter, professional boxer. All right? He's not. He is a boxer, and I'll give him credit for being in great boxing shape. I'll give him credit for that. But he's not a professional boxer. And he won't be until he starts fighting. Fight literally. What did I say yesterday? Lonzo asked me what would he need to do in order for me to consider a professional boxer. Fight a professional boxer, man. Fight a professional boxer. Please. Go find the number 100 ranked welterweight in the game and fight him. Go fight number 80 in the WBO rankings at your weight class. Fight number 80, and if you win that fight, I'll go, hey, that's a ranked fighter. He's on the way.
I just looked up professional definition, and a person engaged in a specific activity, especially a sport or branch of the performing arts, as a main paid occupation rather than as a pastime.
Then he's not, because he makes more money off his YouTube channel than he does.
Does he still do the YouTube stuff? I don't.
Yes.
I mean, I don't pay attention to influencers.
Yes, he does.
Don't.
The corner on a technicality, just untechnicality'd me having to call him a professional boxer because it's as his main occupation, which boxing is not. It's part of it, but his main occupation is social media star.
How are we? Main occupation is? Who decides what your main occupation is? Do you say this is my main occupation? Is radio my main occupation?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
You don't.
That if you did something else lucrative enough to be your number one,
I would not be
you
here.
would not be here.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know. Brian is on the line. Let me get him in for talk a little boxing before we take a break. Brian, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. I think, like MMA and boxing, you have a circuit and they have part of the bouts would be amateurs, non-professionals. And then, because I've been to fights and they say, hey, I'm turning pro. But those amateurs, they got paid to fight in those early fights too, but they didn't turn pro and get their professional card until later on after they proved themselves in the amateur ranks. So there is a difference. You still get paid as an amateur. You never get paid what a professional does by no means.
Right.
But it's a stepping stone.
Yeah, and look, I don't know, man. Like maybe if Jake Paul was working his way up through the amateur ranks, that'd be fine. He's not fighting. I mean, I guess technically he's fighting amateur boxer. Is Nate Robinson an amateur boxer? No, he's a retired baseball or a basketball player. Is Ben Askren an amateur boxer? No, he's a fighter and an MMA guy, but he's not a boxer. There is a massive difference.
Exactly.
Knowing how to fight MMA does not make you a boxer. They are very, very different things, right? So once the dude starts fighting boxers, even if they're high-level amateur boxers, I would have some actual respect for what he's doing.
What if okay.
But he's not doing that, right? And I think, Brian, the reason he's not doing that is because he knows one loss to a real boxer and he loses all the income. He knows that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you know, I've always said I've never had my butt kicked. And the reason why, I pick my own fight.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, Brian, this is a true story. I tell people all the time, I have never been in a fight in my life. I've never been in a fight in my life. You know what other sentence I get to say because of that? I've never had my ass kicked. Yeah. I've never been punched in the face.
I've been in fights because I chose them. I have walked away from some fights too. And guess what? There was a reason.
Yeah. And Brian, I appreciate the phone call, man. You're exactly right. I appreciate the phone call. You know who else can say that? Jake Paul. The dude could be if that dude, in fact, Jake Paul, you have gotten to the point based on your notoriety. By the way, did you see him get his ass booed out of the ring on Raw? That was so good. So good. Got booed out of the ring on Raw. Anyway, he has gotten to the point where he has so much notoriety that right now he could call up Golden Boy Promotions and go, hey, I want on your card and I want to fight a boxer. And they could go, we got a young guy in the stable. Guys, 3-1 professionally with a knockout, a draw. Just somebody who's working his way up through a stable. I used to work for Roy Jones' company, all right? And he had a stable of fighters. Guys that were up and comers. Guy that Roy said, this guy could be somebody, but I'm going to train them from the beginning. Jake Paul could fight any of those guys. He would make a headline for himself. He would make a headline for that kid who's trying to go to the future. He'd make a freaking bankroll of money on it. And you know what he keeps doing? Fighting nobodies. Fighting nobodies. In the boxing game, Tyron Woodley is an MMA fighter. And a good way, from what I was saying, he was a good one. He's out of the game now. He's not in his prime, but he's a good one. And that's all well and good. But he's not a boxer. And they are different, radically different sports. Radically.
I know we got to go to break, but in the future, Jake Paul decides to take on Conor McGregor. Who are you rooting for?
A sinkhole? A meteor? An escaped dinosaur from Jurassic Park? A flash flood, but a really low one that only gets on the floor of the arena?
Conor wouldn't take the pay cut it would take to fight him. But if it happened, I'm just curious.
It'd be the perfect fight because it's two guys who would rather put on a show and take your money than fight. We do have to take a break. We have football things to talk about. Do you know why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, in 24 hours, we will be sitting in front of televisions watching a college football game that counts. Nebraska, Illinois. We got to start making picks and predictions, y'all. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. The Rob Brown Show is back on your radio and on your computer and on your TV and wherever else it is that you take in digital entertainment. Go to Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/the Rob Brown. Oh, no, sorry, Twitter.com/ESPN Upstate, or go to YouTube and search the Rob Brown Show on YouTube. You can actually watch us right there on your television. In order to just watch us wherever you want, man. I'm just trying to make your life easier. A couple of different things that I wanted to get to on the broadcast today. The Big 12 is looking at expanding, all right, and which is no shock. Of course they are. It's not a feasible conference as it stands today, right? It's just not a feasible conference for them to stay where they are right now. And we know that that's going on because they want to be alive when college football's playoff expansion takes place. But, Lonzo, check this out. All that expansion talk, we've been talking the whole time, it's feel like expansion's a done deal, right? It might not be. Because yesterday, Almost Heaven, West Virginia President Gordon G. said that he believes that college football's playoff expansion is, quote, on life support, end quote, and said that he will not vote in favor of the proposed 12-team model when the CFB Board of Managers meets next month. In comments to the West Virginia student newspaper, the Daily Athenaeum, earlier this week, G said he had changed his mind about supporting the plan given the increasing uncertainty across the collegiate landscape after Texas and Oklahoma announced they would leave the Big 12 for the SEC. His own school is now in a conference with an uncertain future. G serves on the CFB Board of Managers, which is set to meet September 28th to discuss the proposal further. The 11 presidents and chancellors who serve on that board have ultimate authority over the format. G is one of those 11, and he said, quote, I think expansion is on life support now. I have one of the votes, and I think it nearly needs to be unanimous, and I'm not voting for it. I think the Big Ten will not vote for it, and the Pac-12 will probably not vote for it either. It's one of those ideas that I think was very good when there was stability. When there's instability, the idea becomes less appropriate. ESPN is reporting that the vote must be unanimous to proceed forward with the expansion plan. And in June, after the board voted to move forward with the expansion discussion, G said, quote, if all the pieces come together, it makes absolute sense. I'd like to be playing in November knowing we have a chance to be in the playoff. But earlier this week, he told the newspaper he is no longer in favor because, quote, I think with this changing environment, we want to keep it very narrow and keep it so there is a lot of opportunity to reconfigure what we're doing in athletics. During a conference call with reporters earlier this week, Pac-12 Commissioner George Kliavkoff and Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren said they were in favor of expansion, but that they wanted further discussion of the plan before they felt comfortable moving forward. Warren said, quote, I'm a big believer in expanding the college football playoff, but also I'm a big believer in being methodical and doing our homework. Kliavkoff added that the Pac-12 is, quote, 100% in favor of expansion, end quote, but that there are, quote, issues at the margins, end quote, that make him cautious, and that, quote, all the criteria related to CFB expansion is on the table for discussion, and any component of that is up for debate. Here's where I fall down on that, Zoe. West Virginia is against expansion for one reason and one reason alone. They have gotten screwed by everybody. They got screwed by Texas and Oklahoma. They got screwed by the Southeastern Conference. They got screwed by ESPN. They are going to be screwed unless they get a backdoor last-minute invite. They are going to be screwed by the ACC, the Big Ten, and the Pac-12. Somebody might invite them down the road, but remember, it wasn't but a couple of days ago that those three commissioners were talking about the fact that they're not looking at expanding right now, right? In the alliance meetings earlier this week, they specifically pointed out that as of right now, they're not at a point where they are looking at expansion, only continuing to evolve and develop the alliance. So, with that being said, I'm not surprised that West Virginia has decided to unilaterally, it looks like, though the Pac-12 and the ACC might have some members that step out of line too, effectively unilaterally decided to train wreck playoff expansion. And that was always a risk with the expansion of the SEC, with Texas and Oklahoma moving over, with the alliance. It was always a risk that in some of these situations where you've got to have everybody, if not a majority of people on board, that some of the schools that get screwed over are going to go, no, and just start throwing cogs into the machine to see what happens. So West Virginia has got to vote yes for playoff expansion, and now they're going to say no. Why would they say no? Why would they say no? Why? Because as it stands right now, we have to have what? Conference champions and the next 6 best teams if we go to 12. What was it? 6 highest conference champs in the next, or 4 conference champs and the next highest 6, whatever plan they ultimately end up going with. West Virginia is in a dead conference. And they know it. And I'm sure there is some level of sympathy for the Iowa States and the Oklahoma States of the world. Ain't nobody running to invite Iowa to their conference. Nobody's running to invite Oklahoma State to the conference, at least today. It might change down the road, especially if the alliance is forced by the SEC to keep growing in power. Then maybe down the road, the Big Ten picks up in Oklahoma State. And that's if those conferences don't just align themselves, right? But basically, West Virginia has train wrecked the discussion of playoff expansion, and they have done it to look at the rest of everybody at that table and gone, you all screwed us over. This is our way to screw you back over. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the business of college football.
Yeah, I don't believe that this is going to derail expansion. The fact that they're started talking about expanding the playoff, they're going to expand the playoff. They will find a way. They will find a way. The people like West Virginia who are going to vote no, they'll find a way, whether it's money or other ways, or suddenly they will find themselves in another conference, even though those conferences aren't expanding. They're going to find a way. They've decided that they're expanding the playoff. They're going to expand the playoff. And I don't think there's anything that's going to stop it.
I think you're right. I also think there's probably some level of control within the people who will be sitting at that table alongside West Virginia to just go, hey, remember how we had that situation set up, that plan set up to where we needed everybody here to agree? Yeah, we don't like that anymore. So sorry. Because we're not going to let West Virginia in a dead conference be the team that stops this money-making enterprise from rolling forward. We ain't going to let it happen. I could see them rework the whole proposition over. Rework the entire proposition over to make it go through. And just tell West Virginia, kick rocks, man. Hasta luego. We don't need you. But we'll see.
Money always finds a way.
Oh, that's a fact.
And money will find a way in this case. And West Virginia will either get on board or they're going to make the situation worse for themselves.
The only thing I could see that West Virginia has a massive impact would be if they can get some of the other, especially some of the Big 12 schools that are on the out looking in, but the Big 12 schools and some of the bigger name independents, maybe they get Notre Dame on board to go, all right, we'll vote for expansion, but only under the guise that, and this is where the whole limiting the conference participants thing kicks in, only under the guise that a conference can only have 3 teams in the playoff, right? Conference champion, 2 at large is only 3 in the, because that leaves room for us, right? That leaves room for us. That mandates that some of the schools like us that are on the outside looking.
What if you do that, but then you also throw in a record requirement, and the record requirement trumps the amount of teams you're allowed in. So if you have to have at least 10 wins,
3 teams, so like 3 teams per conference max, but every team in must be a 10-win team. And if there are no 10-win teams,
then you can pull from a conference that already has 3.
Yeah, I mean, look, I actually don't hate that plan. I don't hate
that way. Even though a conference champion could have only 8 wins, but you couldn't bring anybody else in unless they had 10 wins.
I think I think what we're doing is exactly what West Virginia is trying to do here. They are trying to make these powers that be come to the table and start coordinating, start working on new ideas that open up the floor. I think that's where they're going. A couple of texts that have come in. Texter says, hey, Rob, Connor wasn't a professional boxer, but he got paid against Floyd. Yeah, I know. I wouldn't call him a professional boxer either. Texter says, does Jake Paul make more money boxing or YouTube, though? Almost every athlete has a YouTube. Yes, but Jake Paul became an athlete because of YouTube, not got on YouTube because he was an athlete. You get what I'm saying? Like, he got famous as a younger kid on YouTube who has become a boxer. His audience is on YouTube. Texter says, let's see. If Jake Paul boxed Tim Tebow, Rob would have an aneurysm. If Jake Paul boxed Tim Tebow, Lonzo, I will corner man for Tim Tebow. I will corner man for Tim Tebow. I will be your cut man. I'll be your ice man. I'll be your bucket guy. I'll be whatever. I will be your trainer. I will let Tim Tebow beat up on me in sparring if he will fight Jake Paul.
Will you pray with him before the match and then kneel afterwards?
If I got a Tebow with Tebow, I'll Tebow with Tebow if he'll fight Jake Paul. Texter says, ESPN Lonzo, you might be onto something there. Paul versus McGregor, Connor's first fight back from that gruesome injury. I could totally see that. Yeah, I could see those two guys deciding to put on a show, not actually box and take Lonzo's money. I could see that. I see Lonzo separate. Lonzo, I got a 70-inch. I got to watch that.
All right, so if Connor fights Jake Paul and I buy the fight, you're coming over, right?
Nope.
You're not coming over. You're not coming over to watch.
On it. No.
Okay.
No.
What kind of meal would I have to serve?
I hope it's a double punch KO. They both punch each other at the same time.
I go out and buy you a porterhouse cooked to exactly the perfection that you like.
Texter says, I respect Jake Paul's ability to make money off of dumbass Americans. That's a texter, not me, for the record. It's right there.
And I want to point out that I have never bought a Jake Paul fight and don't intend to unless he
Absolutely hate that crap argument. No max teams per conference. Be better. Bleep it. Put the best damn teams in. Another texter says no conference champions, no auto bids, no only 3 teams per conference. Put the best bleep teams in.
Stop bleeping, people. Be better.
Oh, I thought you were telling me to stop bleeping. I'm like, no, I will not.
No, you.
And what do you mean by be better? You're saying cuss words, people who say cuss words are bad people? Is that what you're telling me?
All right. So if you know that the words you're putting down cannot be read, then you're not getting the full power of your text. So change the words so your entire thing can be read. That's all I'm saying.
I want you to know I've spent my entire life being a best teams go in guy. I am a best teams go in guy. And I said when expansion talk started, if that means 7 teams from the SEC get in, but they're the 7 best teams, so be it. You don't like them, beat them. But the recognition of that also has to be that you're creating a system where by default the rich will always get richer, and the poor will never be able to join them, right? Like as it stands, Rutgers will never, ever, ever, ever have a chance because as long as Alabama and Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame, who am I leaving out of the repeats? I think that's it, right? You're 5 that have pretty much owned the college football playoff since it went to 4 teams. As long as those teams keep making the playoffs, those teams keep getting the money. As long as those teams keep getting the money, those teams keep getting the recruits. As long as those teams keep getting the recruits, those teams keep going back to the playoffs. That's your only concern. That guy just literally black masked somebody in an MMA ring, Lonzo. That was incredible. Quick break. I'm back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
Team doctors for the Clemson Tigers and UFSC Gamecocks, Prisma Health Orthopedics can give you and your family the same care we provide top athletes. If hip and knee pain is making your daily life difficult, seek the best care. Find out if joint pain is affecting your quality of life by taking a free health assessment. Don't let hip or knee pain hold you back. Learn more at prismahealth.org/ortho.
World Haunted Attraction officially opens September 10th. Voted one of America's top haunts and #1 in South Carolina. Venture through the haunted house trail full of elaborate sets, special effects, and top-notch actors. Play our creepy carnival games and escape rooms, or check out our brand new 18-hole Ghost Town mini golf. Grab your friends and get ready to scream. Located in Piedmont off I-85, exit 35. Buy your tickets now at madworldattractions.com. That's madworldattractions.com.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs. How do your clients know that? Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first. So wait, you do it because you have to? No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them. Get to know them how? We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle, so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement. Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right? No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
According to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. So, 82% of you listening will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. 82% of you will note that if you're hiring, ZipRecruiter finds qualified people for your job. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And 82% of you will remember that you can try ZipRecruiter for free. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. We're all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. Improve your gas mileage by properly inflating tires and taking your car in for a tune-up. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes.
Is that how you'd show up for a press conference, though? By the time you look up, it'll be too late.
Dude, I wish you'd have seen that kick. The guy threw a full extension spinning round kick, caught the guy on the chin.
Was it a black dude or a white dude?
It was a white dude.
Okay, because I'm trying to figure out which one of the guys, because they're fighting each other.
He
So
threw an incredible roundhouse kick, like full extension, like legs angled like that. It was nuts.
Geico presents Motorcycle Word of the Day. Today's word is tank slapper. Is a tank slapper used to describe a handlebar wobble? Or is it a motorcycle joke that is so funny you just have to slap the gas tank with your hand as you laugh? As in, oh man, Daryl told me a
man,
joke
stop being bored.
I'm bored a lot. I know what you're talking about.
Somebody go give that person something to do.
Okay, like he took Floyd Mayweather's hat off and ran away. Do you not get what? Okay, never mind. I'm not going back to him. I said one segment. He gets no more of my time.
Yeah, then he was saying
More of my time. Can't help it. Snoop has bad taste in Friends. All right. Texter says ESPN, just put the best teams in. Also, I didn't realize bleep bleep was not radio allowed. My bad. Also, that's crap, complete crap. Put the best teams in. Play better football. Another texter says ESPN, put the 12 best teams in is all I'm saying. There's plenty of representation in the top 12. If you are mediocre, then you have no place in the playoffs. All right.
If everybody else is from the SEC, you wouldn't have a problem with that. I'm talking to the texters.
Yeah, no, I know. So if we do 12 teams, you get a couple of questions. Number one, is it 12 teams? Hey, look, it's Montana Love. There he is. If it's 12 teams and we have 6 conference champions and 6 not, are you telling me that by default, one of the conference champions, like being a conference champions, makes you one of the best 12 teams in football? No. So this is not an attack texter. I'm kind of thinking some ways around what you're saying. So based on your logic, the first thing you have to do is get rid of conference champions, right? If we're only doing 12 best teams, you have to get rid of conference championships. There's no guarantee that winning your conference makes you one of the 12 best teams. Second thing is that turns this into we go back to being subjective, right? Remember the whole reason for the BCS was to try to get rid of some of the subjectivity? Because Lonzo's best 12 teams and my best 12 teams probably not going to line up. Neither are your 12 or Mark Ryan's 12 or Diesel's 12 or Mark Hendricks' 12. None of our 12 teams are going to be there. So how do we get around that? Was Coastal Carolina one of the best 12 teams last year, Lonzo? After what they did, knocked off BYU at home? Were they one of the 12 best teams?
I guess.
Which is a good way of saying, who knows? I don't know if they were.
It's hard to judge anything from last year.
Right. Point is, opening up the system does not guarantee we're still getting the 12 best teams. Right? Now, it opens up the reason I am very pro expansion for the record. Very pro expansion. One of the reasons that I want to open it up to 12 is because I feel more comfortable saying if we pick 12, we will definitely get the best 4. Right? Definitely get the best 4. But if you're like a West Virginia and you're going, hey, you guys are leaving us out in the dust. And the SEC plays the SEC and pretty much nobody from outside of it. And the Big Ten, the Pac-12, and the ACC are playing the Big Ten, Pac-12, and the ACC. And now they're not playing anybody from outside of those conferences. If you're West Virginia, who do you get to play? The remnants of the Big 12, which aren't good. And by the way, West Virginia's a pretty good program right now. You get to play the remnants of the Big 12 and who? Because what's going to happen is they're going to play the remnants of the Big 12 and they're going to play the College of Charleston and UConn and I don't know, St. John's. And they're going to get to the end of that road and they're going to have Selection Sunday and you guys are going to take a 9-3 SEC team over a 12-0 West Virginia team or undefeated, or excuse me, 11-1 or 10-2 West Virginia team and say the quality of competition is better because SEC or because the Alliance. And that West Virginia team's going to go, we can't do anything more. We cannot do, it is physically impossible for us to do anything more. How do we get in? And we're going to be right back in the same spot. That's why they're talking about derailing this. Because they're going to go, we can't play SEC teams and they won't play us. We can't play the Alliance teams and they won't play us. All we can do is Big 12 remnants and whatever small schools will volunteer to come here and get slaughtered, and y'all still won't get us in. Because college football is now divided between the SEC and the Alliance, and then a chasm, and then everybody else. So we're going to try to train wreck that before that chasm opens up. We're going to try to stop that before it gets rolling too heavy. That's why they're doing this. Quick break, wrap up this hour next. I'm Rob Lonzo. This is ESPN Upstate.
partly foggy, low near 73. Saturday, sunshine high around 92, and Sunday, sunny high 92. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 89.
Tomorrow on Commerce Media Network's coverage of NCAA football, we kick off the 2021 season in the Big Ten West Division as the Illinois Fighting Illini host the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Hi, it's Greg Daniels. Join Chad Brown and me for all the action as Coach Scott Frost and the Huskers look for a tough road win against new head coach Brett Bielema and the Fighting Illini. It's Nebraska and Illinois in Big Ten action. If it's college football, it's right here.
Tomorrow afternoon at 12:30 on your home for the best games in college football, ESPN Upstate. This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick. The type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera. And the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Link your Ingles Advantage card to your child's school, giving the advantage to those who really need it. That's our pledge to you.
This week at Ingles, select varieties Strong and Ultra 12-count mega pack tissue, $13.98 each. Select sizes and varieties Mott's apple juice or applesauce, 2 for $4. And select sizes and varieties Jif peanut butter or Smucker's jam, jelly, or preserves, 2 for $4. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
ESPN Upstate is your home for Vernon Paladins football. The Paladins kick off the 2021 season Saturday, September 4th at 12:30 versus North Carolina at A&T. Every play, every game on ESPN Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and on the Odyssey app.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up? We can help you get started. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol GTX and an STP oil filter, plus an STP air filter or cabin air filter for just $34.99. And you can get it all fast, your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery. Start your job today at AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
It's like I blinked and suddenly all my business shifted to e-commerce.
Now, my business hours are whenever my customers need me.
Customers want everything now and faster. It's a whole different world. Reliable shipping nationwide. Computer career logo to represent unemployed employees. Ryan was out of work when he started Flash. Working for Amazon, making more money than ever. Opportunity for the hey, you can start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Not much. Opening with millions of jobs. ZipRecruiter's technology enforcement. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter. Quality candidate within the first day. You can try ZipRecruiter. It's a web address. ZipRecruiter.com/. That's KELLERMAN.
Not here to take part.
We're here.
Rob Lonzo and you here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate, a rivalry coming to a close, maybe? Or is it? I don't know. Lonzo, you're not really a golf guy per se, but you know about the rivalry of Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka because we've talked about it, right?
Yes.
All right. So Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau are going to be joining up under Steve Stricker for next month's Ryder Cup. Now, the Ryder Cup is kind of like the Olympics of golf. It's Team USA versus Team Europe. And as I've told you guys on the show before, I will watch anything competitively if you slap a Team USA jersey on the shoulder and you put us up against the rest of the world. You that way, Lonzo?
Is it over here this year or is it over there?
Ryder Cup is here this year.
It's even better because over there they're so snide and snotty.
You know what's funny? They say over here we are so arrogant and elusive. We don't deserve, we're not as cultured. It's at Whistling Straits in Haven, Wisconsin this year. Anyway, the two of them and their shared beef has been one of the most compelling storylines in golf this year. Steve Stricker told Sports Illustrated that, quote, they said it's not going to be an issue, and I believe them. As far as I'm concerned, it's been put to bed. I don't see it happening. Talking about them blowing up on the Ryder Cup team against each other.
More proof that this was contrived and put together just to get attention and make money.
Yep.
Because a true rivalry is hard to just put away.
Yep.
Even if you there's a little bit of disdain, a little bit of standoffishness, there should be a little bit of I'm not riding with him, I'm not playing the same hole as him, that type of thing.
Like I'll show up, I'll wear the same uniform, but don't put us, because they'll send him out in 2s and 4s, right? Don't put me out on the course with him. I'll share the team, but I don't want to share a hole, right? And that's fine. I said from the beginning, I thought it was contrived, which is too bad because it was indeed the most compelling thing in golf in 2021, wasn't it? I mean, it was the most compelling thing in golf. I was more compelled by Brooks v. Bryce than I was by just about any tournament that wasn't the Masters or the U.S. Open. Really. It was clearly contrived. The fact that these two guys are just buddy-buddy heading into the Ryder Cup now shows me that it absolutely was contrived from the beginning. And I got to tell you, that kind of sucks a little bit, right? Like when you find out that the most compelling thing about that sport was fake, was drama. Bummer, man. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, you know what the most compelling thing in golf is now? The freaking Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup. Team USA, man. Let's go. John Epps, Kevin Thomas, moving the chains. Talking a little prep high school football when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
Hey.
Got your chair now. It's got broken something. I'll take it. There's that. Same thing as last week. Basically, I just kind of typed out a few things. I wouldn't, if we got extra time, I wouldn't mind just like mentioning these two. Yeah, they could be good.
Dude, what happened to Newberry Abbeville?
I don't know. We can mention that too.
They're two top 5 teams.
But do you count it as 2A? I mean, as upstate? And Abbeville's gonna smoke them. You know that.
Still.
We can mention that too. Right here. Write it in there. Write it in there. You don't have a pen? Okay. All right. Where are they playing? Okay. I think that receiver's still there.
Yeah.
Chalmers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alonzo, anybody made you laugh yet? Is that challenge still going on? I heard Rob say it earlier.
I laugh all the time. I laughed several times today.
Not according to Rob.
Again, when you're as loud as Rob, you drown out everything else.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it.
The real question is, will he make it back in time for the beginning of the hour?
What's up, fellas?
What's up?
What the shit? Trying to shit on the floor.
I think it's debris from the chair.
Stop cursing on the stream, Rob.
Oh, that's true. We're on the stream. Thanks, man. Oh, we can talk. We just can't say bad words. No, I appreciate that, man. I'm happy it got done. I didn't think it was gonna get done, honestly. What's that? Yeah. I haven't been out there yet. It's a haul. Super duper. But I've got it got done, and I've got where's your email? I've got an hour to. I mean, there's an hour between the end of the show and the kickoff, so I can hang out there. I got an hour to get back to Greenville. So. Get ready. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, sitting across the glass, both metaphorically and literally today, as he remains in the penalty box for the time being.
I live here, and I should.
Joining me now on the show, as they do every Friday at 2 o'clock, the host of the Moving the Chains podcast, which you need to follow them on Facebook at facebook.com/moving no G, because they're young and they're hip like that. It's all about the lingo. Moving the Chains SC on Twitter and Instagram at Moving, again, no G, Chains. I'm a little shocked it's not a Z on the end to be cool and consistent. At Moving Chains on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find their podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, wherever you podcasts are found. They are Kevin Thomas and John Epps for Moving the Chains. Fellas, what's happening, man?
Rob, it's a beautiful Friday, man.
It is.
It's hot. I will say that.
It's a little warm. I got to tell you, we were sitting last week. I came up and met you guys up at Hillcrest to watch the Hillcrest game. And for like 30 seconds, there's this part of you that's like, man, I miss my playing days, right? Like I miss the days. And then I started sweating when I opened the door to the car. And I was like, I don't miss them. Good luck tonight, boys, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's something you'll see. That second half, a lot of cramps start.
A lot of cramps in the second half. We talked because we got through the first half, and we were talking about this at the game. We get through the first half, and I'm like, I gotta tell you, man, like for week 0, these boys are looking in shape. And then second half starts, and it's like cramp. It went downhill quick. But that's how it works, man. It's early, so we got week 0 out from under the way. We'll jump into let's talk a little bit about what we saw last week, and then we'll start previewing week 1 coming up this evening. But first off, we saw what a game at Hillcrest, man, and it got a little out of control in the second half. I didn't expect.
Yeah, it was a great game. Greenwood jumped out early. They were leading 24-9 at halftime, and I told you guys, said, boy, we might see a little barn burner here in the second half. And Greenwood, they took the air of the ball a little bit. They kept the ball on the ground. And then here in the fourth quarter, here comes Hillcrest.
I got to tell you, I walked out of there with like 7 minutes left to play. I'm like, I got to be traffic. I want to see some other stuff before I get back to the house. I walked out of there blowout, and I saw on Twitter later, I'm like, what the hell? What did I miss?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the Hillcrest offense finally got going. They'd really struggled the first half, even the third quarter. They're able to hit some nice pass plays there. And I'll tell you, Rob, they had 2 onside kicks they kicked after both touchdowns. They were very close to recovering both of them. They got good bounces, just couldn't quite get on top of it there. It kind of bounced around a little bit, but Hillcrest kind of showed up, made a couple stops when they had to, some key stops there against that triple option offense, and offense got going, but at the end, it just wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, Hillcrest, they scored 2 touchdowns in 61 seconds in that fourth quarter, and that brought the game to 30-23, and we're thinking, okay, that last onside kick was pretty close, and the second one scored it through the first Greenwood hands team member, but went out of bounds. But a great game. But Greenwood looked really good.
So the analysis of this game is I screwed up by leaving early is what it comes down to.
That was a mistake, Rob. I didn't want to say it, but since you brought it up, I'll confirm.
Yeah. No, it was a good game, and I think you saw both teams really third quarter kind of start to settle, or Greenwood specifically, settle into a rhythm, start finding their spot. Only thing I took away from it, I thought Hillcrest was really like we talked about this at the game. They were trying to force that little bubble screen, and it never got going. And I wondered if maybe they were almost using that to set something else up down the line. But I mean, it's high school football, right? Like you find what you're good at, and even if it's not working, you got to keep going to the well till it does.
Yeah, especially that early in the season where maybe you don't want to open up your playbook fully because it's a non-region game, whatever. Maybe you want to get something on tape, whatever it is. So it could have been some of that, but like we said, the first 3 quarters, your offense for Hillcrest was abysmal, almost, honestly.
Greenville on the road knocked off Rock Hill 31-28, late field goal in that one.
Yeah, a 48-yarder by the Red
A
Raiders.
real field goal too.
Oh yeah,
Not a
big
field
lead.
goal.
So that was a tied ball game. District 3 Stadium Greenville had Rock Hill on the ropes, and then to kick that field goal, gave the ball back to Rock Hill with a little bit of time left, but Rock Hill was not able to do anything with it.
Yeah, Greenville, the quarterback Franklin played very well for them. They've got, like I mentioned last week, they've got as much talent as anybody in the upstate. And that kid came to play, threw a couple TDs, ran the ball well. So good win there for the Red Raiders on the road to start off the season.
And probably one of the best names in high school football, Prometheus Franklin. You got to be a fan of that.
I saw that on your prep sheet earlier. Prometheus Franklin. I got to tell you, on the all-name team, that's towards the top.
You call him Pro for short.
Ooh.
Dude,
Ooh.
solid name. Let's one more, and then we'll get going to week 1. Dormant losing at home 20-7 in that one.
Yeah, that was probably the surprise of the week, really. I would say, Rob, Dorman, always good, always big physical. Offense is always pretty solid for them. To score 7 points against Clover, a team that's typically not that stout on defense, I would say. That's kind of a shocker, especially in Roebuck. You got to wonder if that's a sign of things to come for Dorman or what, but not a great start of the season there for the Cavaliers.
Good news for Dorman. It's not in region play. It's not going to affect them as far as the playoffs go. They've got plenty of time to work it out. And, Clover may be a good team. That put Clover in the top 10 of the 5A prep poll this week. Clover checks in this week at number 9. So it may not turn out to be really a bad loss or a really bad sign for Dorman.
All right, let's jump to week 1. And I think, obviously, right now, boys, the story of week 1 is that we came into this, and your note says 20-ish games canceled at last count, and we just got a note that another one has been canceled. Tonight's 7:30 matchup between Blue Ridge and Greer has been canceled after a Blue Ridge player tested positive for COVID-19. Several teammates have had to be quarantined. Game was scheduled to be played at Blue Ridge. Contact tracing has been conducted, and that game is now off. So 20-ish plus 1 games now canceled. And look, we knew that we're not out of the woods with high school ball, especially with high school ball, because they're going to take every precaution. But yeah, I mean, talk about the schedule in week 1 getting decimated. I saw somebody on social media earlier today saying, at this point, is it not just a better idea to cancel another season? And I got to tell you, there's got to be some folks in some high offices right now that are wondering that when you're looking at 21, 22 games around the area having to be called off because of coronavirus.
Every day I'm getting 3 to 4 to 5 tweets, texts saying, hey, we can't play. It's a mess. We've got some people saying that they should maybe put a pause on the season for 2 weeks to try to help out things, get vaccination rates up or whatever. Some guys are saying, let's push all the region contests at the beginning of the season, try to get those in as soon as we can.
I remember you told me that, and it caused some scheduling conflicts.
You're seeing there's just no unification. The high school league hasn't really said anything, so who knows what they're thinking there. It's a big mess. I don't know what's going to happen, Rob. I don't see it getting any better really right now unless something drastically changes.
Let me ask you about that, and John, I'll ask you too. So when I was down in Florida, the FHSAA, the Florida High School Athletics Association, man, they loved having their fingers on everything, man. Like, it was statewide. All of the playoff tiebreakers were unified. From what I understand here, it's not that way. Like, every different district can have its own tiebreakers, whatever. If there were any questions, the FHSAA would send reps to middle of nowhere backwoods Florida to answer that. Like, they loved being in control. And from what I understand, it's not really the same way here. Like, the High School Athletic Association in South Carolina just kind of, y'all do your thing, and we'll be here if there's really any emergencies. I got to wonder at this point if that's not I don't want to play. Like, I'm not going to place blame on anybody. It's a pandemic. It happens. But I got to wonder if there's not a point in time where maybe the chain's got to get tightened up a little bit to make sure that we can finish this or at least give it a best run.
Yeah, and what makes it tough, I don't think any region or any school district, county is doing anything incorrectly or unfairly, but you've got different regions with different rules, and then that makes it tough. Hey, I'm Greenville, they want to play Rock Hill. Well, Rock Hill's going by one set of rules, Greenville's going by another set. Well, that turns out we can't play you now. And it makes it a lot tougher for these schools, and we see like Somerville. They had a couple of days to reschedule a game. They're playing Gaffney now. They were quick on it. They were very prompt in scheduling that. And then you see other schools, Dillon County had an opportunity to play a game, and they said, yeah, you know what? We need more than 2 days to prepare for a game. We're not going to play this week. So it makes it tough for the schools that really want to play.
All right, so week one, let's talk about the games that as of this minute, because literally I brought you guys on, and as we're doing the interview, we're getting game cancellation notices. For the games we do know are happening as of right now, Burns at Chapman is one of the ones. You guys pointed out 3, but I'll let you guys go over them. But Burns at Chapman, it's been 46 years since these two teams have played a 5A, 3A game. When you see like 5A, 3A matchups, is that something that gets you a little concerned? Like, I know in Florida there is a massive difference between 5A and 3A. That's a bloodbath before the game even starts 90% of the time.
Yeah, usually the depth comes into play. As you know, just 5A just has more talent and more players overall, honestly. So that's always an issue. But I'll tell you, my main theme for this week, Rob, and you'll see it in this game, a couple more we talk about, is that teams that have played week 0 versus teams who haven't played. They say the biggest improvement comes between game 1 and game 2. Burns played last week. Chapman didn't play last week. That probably gives the Rebels some kind of leg up, I would think, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we found out last year, Camden is a 3A school. They went up to Nixon Field last year, played Burns, and they beat them. Now, that was a lower state champion 3A school, but we're talking about Chapman is arguably the best team in 3A, no matter lower state or upper state. Chapman can play ball, and they've proved it year in, year out.
Sure. Yeah. So this could actually end up being a game.
Yeah.
Burns, and of course, you'll hear that game right here on ESPN Upstate.
Yeah, Burns looked good last week against Greer, blew them out. But like we said on the show last week, Rob, Greer's got some problems. They got some quarterback issues. I don't think Greer is very good, so I don't really know if that told us a lot about Burns, honestly. The Rogers kid played good at quarterback. Mac Long looked good, obviously.
The first 10 minutes of that game were about as entertaining of a game as I've listened to in a while. It was real dicey to start, but then Burns kind of settled into a routine in the second half.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm really excited to see the quarterback for Chapman, the Settle kid, Drew Settle. Very good player there for them. He's coming back along with all 5 O-linemen. So I think Chapman's got a real shot to win this game with it being at home. The Panthers are definitely going to put up a good fight.
Yeah, Chapman, they were no pushover last year. This team, they went 7-1 last year. Their only losses in the playoffs to the eventual state champion Daniel Lions, they lost by 14. I mean, they were arguably the second best team in the state last year too. Chapman can play. I think Chapman pulls, if you want to call it an upset. I think they pull an upset.
Really? Well, you'll hear that call this evening. Our buddy Cole Bryson will be on the mic. You'll be able to hear Burns play Chapman at Chapman right here on ESPN Upstate. Somerville at Gaffney tonight, rematch of the 98 and 05 state title games. I love the caption here. Would have been huge 15 to 20 years ago, but dude, sometimes it's when you get these old rivals together and the kids start hearing the war stories from the vets that were there when they played each other 25 years ago. Those kids take something. It can mean something to them too. This could get interesting.
Yeah, 29 combined state championships between these two programs. Very, very good history in both of them. This is still a big-time game. Obviously, like John mentioned, this game got scheduled yesterday. The Dutch Fork Gaffney game got called off due to a death in the Dutch Fork program there.
Yep, I saw that.
This had to get scheduled last minute. Gaffney looked very good last week against Spartanburg. They did. They didn't play their best game, but they ran the ball well. Tyler Smith and Little John Kidd really got down on the ground.
252 yards and 3 touchdowns combined.
They got it done.
Have a day, young men.
They got it done. And then Somerville, like I mentioned, has not played a game yet. So I'm leaning towards the Indians here, probably winning by 2 scores, John.
Yeah, I think so too. Somerville was a decent team last year. They went 4-5, got booed from the playoffs by Dutch Fork. But again, they're a top-level program. I think Gaffney's a little bit better, though. I mean, you have a team that can run the ball extremely well and then plays good defense. You're going to be favored in a lot of games.
Last game you guys have on your must-watch games this weekend, Riverside versus JL. Man, I don't know a ton about either one of these teams, unfortunately. So, do you think, hey?
I'll tell you, usually both these teams stink.
Okay.
This year, I think they're okay. So we'll see. Riverside had a nice win last week over TR, scored 42 points to QB Rob Sanders, went for 288 and 4 TDs, played a very good game, no turnovers. JL Man snuck by Eastside 13-8. They lost their quarterback early, so it was kind of tough to tell a lot about them. They've got a good playmaker receiver, a sophomore, Toby Cates Jr. Dad played at Carolina. So they've got a good team there, but I don't think JL Man beat a very good Eastside team. So I'm leaning towards Riverside to win this game on the road.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Eastside, last few years has been a electric offense. What they have this year, I'm not sure yet. But whatever they have, JL Man did a great job shutting it down last Friday. I actually like JL Man in this game. But again, don't know a ton, but they're both 1-0.
All right, give me one more before we get out of here. Spartanburg at Malden. There's a lot of question marks about this one, but could be interesting game.
Malden has possibly the most talent on defense of anybody in the state. They've got a kid going to Clemson, the cornerback Jaden Lucas, DB/linebacker going to North Carolina, Randy Caldwell. They've got some good talent over there. At Spartanburg, it all comes down to does their quarterback Raheem Jeter play? He was out last week. He's still kind of banged up. If he plays, Spartanburg's got a chance. If not, I think Malden will win this ball game.
And Malden's a school that we've seen have a lot of talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball the last few years, but they just haven't been really good. This is a chance for Malden to get off on the right foot. If they can beat Spartanburg, they could have something pretty special cooking this year.
Love to see it. John Epps, Kevin Thomas, host of the Moving the Chain podcast. Find them on Facebook at facebook.com/moving, no G, Moving the Chains, SC, Twitter and Instagram at Moving Chains. And you can find their podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, wherever your podcasts are found. Again, big story this week. We're looking at 20 plus games around the upstate and around the Midlands that have been canceled so far due to COVID-19. We're going to keep on top of that story as the season continues to try to continue. But at this point, it's going to be real interesting. Kevin, John, great to see you fellas. We'll talk to you all in a week, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Rob.
Always back after this on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Alonzo, it's ESPN Upstate. I guess I should turn. Okay, the audio's back on the stream. But yes, that thing we just talked about, correct. I need to do that.
Okay. Hey man, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Fanboy Friday, every Friday at 2:20 ... ish. Lonzo and I talk about all the stuff that we talk about off the air in our office, but we just bring it on the air because it's Lonzo's show and he wanted to. So that's what we're doing. A couple of things I wanted to get to on Fanboy Friday this week. First and foremost, huge video game dump yesterday. Huge video game dump yesterday. We were watching, I forgot the name of the Gamescom that you were talking about. Com?
Gamescom. COM. Yeah.
Like communications.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know why it's that, but that's what it's called.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I assume con, but it also really wasn't a con. It was kind of just a big presentation. Anyway, Lonzo and I are watching video game dump after video game dump after video game dump yesterday. First and foremost, what did you see yesterday that is like the takeaway, like the game, the presentation that you took away from yesterday?
The Marvel game, and I have to look up the name.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, the Marvel game that has Ghost Rider in
Revolution?
it.
Oh, no. I thought you were talking about the cell phone game.
And I'm excited about both of them.
So one of them, Marvel Revolution, is the one that I was interested in because apparently it's a big open world PvP RPG, right? So you become one of the, but there's all the different iterations of all the different Marvel superheroes. So there's like traditional Captain America, but there's also communist Captain America, and there's Captain Carter. There's all the different iterations, all the different Universal Captain Americas, and you will create your own version of whatever superhero you want to be. And it's a big open world RPG. And it looks very intriguing. I'm super into it there, Zoe. But it's actually an app. It's a cell phone game. I thought it was a console game when they introduced it.
Yeah, and if I understand, it's out now.
It's already out.
Yeah, I looked it up yesterday.
Is it already out? Or see, because I went and looked at it on my phone yesterday, and it still had the subscribe now, like almost like a beta test kind of thing.
I saw something this morning that said it was
okay.
Out. I haven't tried it yet. But the other Marvel game that I was excited about is called Midnight Suns.
Okay.
And just because it has Ghost Rider in it, it looks really cool. Wolverine, just everybody, Captain America, but you get to design your own character and play alongside those guys.
I saw that because it had a sick version of Wolverine that I was pretty pumped about.
Yep.
But I think I got to tell you, I have been waiting for Marvel to give us the Marvel games that we want, because I got to tell you, I never got the Avengers for one reason and one reason alone, Lonzo, and it's that I heard nothing good about it, which isn't a reason to or not to get a game. But then I started going and watching like gameplay footage on YouTube and all that. It just didn't do anything for me, which is disappointing.
Since I like to review games on Saturdays, sometimes I will purchase a game that maybe I shouldn't buy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I wasted money on that game.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it, and I think it's more fun playing with somebody else. And my son played along with me, and we had some fun. There's some things you have to do on your own. Then you can play together and pick different characters. Actually, my daughter played that with us too. And so we were able to, 3 of us playing. We had a lot more fun than I did playing individually.
The future, it's Marvel Future Revolution, is a cell phone game. I'm actually watching it. It's very Warcrafty.
Yeah, that doesn't see again.
It's very Warcrafty.
How? All
So
right.
it looks like you scroll around on the screen where you want to go, but then it has buttons down here, and you've got your abilities and cooldowns and all. So it looks like a legitimate, like a Warcraft video game, but apparently it's on your phone. Now I'm sure that you can put it on the. I'm sure you can put it on like a laptop if you want. It's kind of like Among Us, right? Like it's made for laptop or for tablets and phones, but you can play it on a PC, whatever. Texter says, ESPN, you'd think as amazing as the movies are, they'd take a little more pride in their video game world. There is a huge gap in quality. 100%. 100%. But here's the thing. Since the Sega handheld games, Lonzo, Disney has not really done a spectacular job on video games, right? Like the Kingdom Hearts was good. I enjoyed the Kingdom Hearts franchise, but outside of Kingdom Hearts, it's not really like Disney has a legacy of having great video games connected to them. You would think that they would have a better Marvel video game catalog than they do. This Future Revolution game is probably the first one that I've looked at and been like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And that's really only because I can tailor my own superhero. You know, like that's really the only reason. It is a little shocking to me, though. It is a little shocking to me. Oh, it is up. Okay. Well, go ahead and
Yeah,
download it.
I'm installing it right now.
I'll go ahead and get it.
So we'll see
So
what
we're not
happens.
getting
with it.
anything done after the show's over, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we weren't anyway.
That's
so.
not unfair. Not unfair. Yeah, I agree, Texter. I thought Marvel would have more. The other thing I wanted to bring up on Fanboy Friday, and we've had this discussion. Zoe and I have had this discussion, though I've never really involved you guys as listeners in it, and I will give you the opportunity to involve yourself in it now. What's a fair spoiler alert period? What is a fair spoiler alert period? Mine has always been 2 weeks. You get 2 weeks on big things. Because I know people are busy and they're grown up. Lonzo's like, when it's over, you have 10 minutes. Good luck. Now, in fairness, Lonzo has his show, Upstate Pulse, Saturday night, 7 to 9, WORD. Make sure you're listening to it or follow them on Facebook and watch the stream. And Lonzo's like, dude, if you haven't watched it by Saturday night, don't listen to the show. And that's a hardline stance. I try to give you at least 2 weeks, right? So like season or episode 1 of What If of What If on Marvel is the Captain Carter episode. You passed it. It's been 2 weeks. Next Wednesday, we can talk about the T'Challa episode. 2 Wednesdays from 2 days ago, we'll talk about this Wednesday's episode.
Look at your Twitter while you're talking.
So, what is what is a proper spoiler alert period? And I'm asking this because Lonzo, I am genuinely willing to shift it back down. Nice. Well done. Very well done, Keegan. Thank you very much. I am genuinely willing to shift it back down to a 1 week period. I think I could justify doing it down to 1 week, but I can't do any less than 1 week. First text come in, says ESPN 1 week. Says 1 week is a 1 week? I like if a huge movie drops, I gotta tell you, I don't always get to go to the theater in the first week of a movie, even if it's a movie I really want to see.
See, a movie's different, and I get it. If you watch the movie, on Thursday or Friday, and then someone's talking about it like the next day, I get that that's not for everybody. I think 2 or 3 days is fine. You should be able to talk about it, not wait till the following Wednesday.
I don't know, man. Like,
because you are talking about it with the people you went to see it with, or somebody is one of your friends is texting you or something. Hey man, did you see this? You're talking about it with them. What's the difference?
I know that they have seen it. Like if I come into the office and Marvel drops a big movie this weekend, and I come into the office and I did see it on opening weekend, and I get in and Lonzo goes, hey, I saw blank and blank this weekend. I'll go, also, me too. We can talk about it. But I'm not going to talk about it on the radio because there's people who haven't gotten the chance because they got jobs. so they can't get to it. Texter says, Rob talking about Kingdom Hearts. I freaking love you. You're welcome. Another texter says, if it is streamable, that shortens the spoiler window. I accept that.
And by the way, Kingdom Hearts, the first Kingdom Hearts, the main boss at the end, one of the harder bosses of any games that I've ever played.
100%.
But you got to remember, Square Enix made it, so they know how to make a
That's
a
the
tough
same
boss.
group that makes
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't remember because they feel like the same.
And they also at the end, and you're just waiting.
do.
Someone's going to die. Kingdom Hearts. There's a song place. It's like stinking Square Enix.
I think I accept this rule. Texter says if it is streamable, that shortens the spoiler window. I think I can amend my rules though. Movies, 2-week spoiler, streamable content, 1-week spoiler window. Is that a compromise?
If you're okay with it, yeah.
Alonso's like, I just saw the final credits. Let's talk about it publicly.
Now, I wouldn't, when I come out of a theater and I see a movie, I don't come out. I'm not that guy talking about what I just saw. We wait till we get to the car to talk about it. So I'm not doing that. Now, if I get home and I go online, that's totally different. Because you can choose whether to listen or not listen. There's a couple sites that I go to, and they make sure that they go out of the hey, we're going to talk about, and I realize it's radio.
You are breaking rule number 1 of radio, which is never tell people to leave your radio show.
If you're confident in what you're doing, though, you know they're going to come back. And so
you'll be back.
And there's always the case of somebody. That sucks for you.
One more thing, and then we'll get out of Fanboy Friday. I saw yesterday, Lonzo. This was kind of cool. I'm a big music guy, right? And I actually like classical music. You listen to classical music?
Think about some of what you hear me play, even though it's music from a movie
music, right.
But it's still considered classic. It's
composed symphonic music.
Symphonic music, yes.
All right.
I love the Beethoven. I
Sure.
love the Bachs. I love the those guys. Sure.
So I'm a big fan of classic music, and I saw this. This article yesterday. We're talking about the fact that they are making it's almost kind of a parody movie, but like a movie about some of the original composers, but they're all going to be played as action stars, right? Or by action stars. So they had this interview with the different actors who are going to be playing, and they were talking about like Sylvester Stallone, and he was like, yeah, I always wanted to play Beethoven. It was just weird. It was like a weird thing because you wouldn't see that. And they were like, Jason Statham, I think said he wanted to be Strauss. And then they brought in Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he was like, yeah, I'll be back.
So you thought it was going to work, huh? You thought you were going to get me there.
I was waiting on that one. I thought that was going to do it.
That was good, though.
I thought that was going to do it.
It was really good.
I'll be back. Fine, whatever. It's a break on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN. That joke was better than that.
It was a pretty good joke. It was.
Can you tell us the time when Ric Flair stole your couch and sold it for a tuna sandwich? I went high school. Kevin's in our Warzone group, and Keegan plays with us occasionally. Hence the connection.
Yeah, but is he right? Is he actually good at Warzone?
No, we all suck.
Okay.
We all suck.
But even in a room full of suck, someone has to stand out. So is it Kevin?
Our buddy Brett.
Okay.
Brett's in the group. Brett's good. This I clicked on download Future Revolution, and it's like, yo, this game is so big, we suggest Wi-Fi.
Well, it was still, last time I checked, it still said waiting for me, even though the icons appeared. No, it's finally, I hope it's not too big. It's finally starting
Starting to jump in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a 1.57 gig download.
I have no idea how much space I have.
My
So,
phone's 80 gigs. So this is eating up well over 1% of my data for a game. This game better not suck.
I have like 2 other games on here that take up a lot of space. So that may be. I have to choose between it and Dokkan. It's going bye-bye because I've been playing that game for like 6 years now.
Do we want to do all right. So here's the thing, Sean. You know what? I'm going to talk about this when we come back. I haven't played fantasy football in about 7 years. I haven't played in like 7 years, and I haven't played in like 7 years for some reasons, which I will give when we come back on air here in just a second. Because I've considered starting up a fantasy listener league this year. Considered it. But that's committing to something that I've been against for the past 7 years. So I don't know if I break that.
I've only played once. So if you do, you get every.
Plus, here's the other thing. If we do this, the maximum amount of people that I would have in there would be 12, all right? Which means 10 listeners, because Milonzo and 12 or in 10
Well, wouldn't we kind of want to bring that other show into it?
So that would be me, you, Mark Diesel, and 8 listeners.
Yeah, I'm just,
So how do I pick? How do I pick the 8 listeners? Because then I'm going to have P1s who don't get in, who are going to be mad at me. Our regulars are going to get mad I'm not in. Or we're going to be inundated with people, and then I'm going to feel obligated to create like 4 leagues so we get more people in. But then I got to manage 4 fantasy football teams.
No, Keegan, that sounds like work for me. I'm not down for that.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think we could have fun with it, and but
I think about it. We got a week. We can do a draft between postseason week 3. Well, let me think about it. I'm not saying no.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So, and we did a draft. How many people can we fit on StreamYard? I forget. There's a maximum amount. So you do the draft live on Facebook or something. I mean, it has potential to be fun and also not fun.
Reports the Cavaliers will get Lauri Markkanen in a sign and trade from the Bulls. Markkanen will get a
He really is extremely bored and slow. Look at that. You've got an offer for someone to be commissioned, so you wouldn't have to do it.
Oh.
Maybe we only go with our diamond listeners on the Facebook live stream.
P11s.
The ones that show up here.
Right.
Which would also encourage some other people to get, there's a lot of ways you can go with it. Golf card in the next break.
All right, I'm going to leave this up to you guys. We got axed during the break on the stream at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, twitter.com/ESPN Upstate, and search The Rob Brown Show on YouTube. We got asked during the break by Sean, are y'all thinking about doing a show/listener fantasy football league at all? If I do that, would y'all want in? Because the last thing I want to do is start up a league and then people don't jump in to start or jump in but then stop playing in week 4 and now got a dead league, right? Like there would have to be a justification for something bad that happens to the last place. The point is, it's going to take a lot of work. I haven't played football or fantasy football in about 7 years. And I haven't played fantasy football in about 7 years because of how much work it is, right? Like, it's a lot of work. Not even like having to be the commissioner, but just like running a team. I got to a point a few years ago, Lonzo. I had 1 year, I was in 11 fantasy football leagues in a single year. That's too many fantasy football teams. I was in 11 fantasy football leagues at one time. I had 11 teams to look after. And then I realized something, which was it got to the point where I was rooting for every player in the National Football League. And I'll tell you, the minute I stopped, there was a game. It was a Saints-Falcons game where we got down to the end of the game, and it was a playoff contention game. Saints needed a win to get in. And I was rooting for the Falcons kicker to make a 40-plus yard field goal late in the game to tie the game, rooting for the Falcons kicker to make a field goal so that one of my fantasy football teams would win. And I realized it was to the point, though, that I was rooting to the detriment of my own actual favorite football team in a playoff scenario because I had like $50 riding on a fantasy football league, and I tapped out, and I haven't played since then.
Yeah, but there won't be any money involved in this, so it just will be for
worse.
Why?
Pride.
Yeah, which, you're right. You can't put a price on that. So, I mean, I think you won't have to root for Atlanta if just your pride is on the line. Well, maybe you will.
Second off, Lonzo, if we do this, I'm doing one league, which means that there will either be 8 or 10 listeners involved, depending on whether or not the hosts for the show for men want to step up to us. So if Mark and Diesel want in on this, that means that we would have room for 8 listeners. If they don't, we have room for 10. How do we pick 8 to 10 listeners to be in this league without taking off everybody else? Like, what kind of contest do we have to set up to get people we know will play for this? Is it the P1 of P1s? Is it the Keegans and Statakuses? Do we open it up to a text competition? Do we scatter entries in hidden spots around the station website and make people go find them? Like, how do we justify this?
I like that last one. That sounds like a lot of work, though.
Yeah.
Or just text in your name. We'll put everybody's name in a box.
Random 8?
Yeah.
Random 10?
We could do that.
All right. Do you guys want me to start up a fantasy football listener league? I will hear your ideas. If I do that, will you be interested in it? Text your answer to 71307. The Ingles Market text line. If I start a league, do you guys want in? That will be that'll be the question. 844-477-3776. 844-GSP ESPN. Let's take a break. When we come back, Twitter trending topics, and we wrap it up on a Friday, baby. Rob Alonzo, you, it's ESPN Upstate.
Golf cart.
'21 Upstate Golf Cart is on sale now. 9 rounds of golf, 9 beautiful courses, $99. That's it. 9 rounds of golf, 9 courses, $99. It's just that simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's just that simple. And if you go to the website, upstategolfcart.com, I'll tell you first up, we are going to sell out. They are going to sell out. They do every year. But you can buy multiple ones until they do, which means you can buy one for you, one for your significant other, one for your family, one for your friends, whatever. And they're going to go, wow, what an incredible guy. Got me 9 free rounds of golf. And they're going to think you spent like $1,000. No, you spent $99, less than a Benji. And you gave them 9 days of good days out and about. Top that, sucker. You can't. Go to upstategolfcard.com to learn more. Upstate Golf Card. It's a 2021 Upstate Golf Card.
That just reminds me, a cashier, I had to pay her with cash, and she said one broken Benjamin. And me and Cameron looked at each other like, is that where they got their name from? No way.
Play-by-play of the biggest games from Major League Baseball's best. Including the playoffs and the World Series. Fly ball deep to right, and you can kiss it goodbye. This is ESPN Upstate.
Game on. According to research, 82% of people
That was
remember
dumb.
radio ads. That means that 82% of you listening right now will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you can try ZipRecruiter for free today. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio, like where this ad plays. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job and actively invites them to apply. 82% of you will also know that I live with my mom. But the most important thing to know is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember when you can try ZipRecruiter for free? It's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Again, that exclusive link is ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Yes, radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Do you think it's okay to drive stoned? The truth is, your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Stop kidding yourself. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Fisher is different? How? Don't you just ride the wave?
Nope. We actively manage client portfolios based on our forward-looking views of the market. In times like these, we understand that clients want proactive communication and guidance.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we get to know our clients so we can tailor their portfolios to their specific goals and needs. We even offer resources on Social Security, Medicare, tax efficiency, and more. Our primary goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions, right?
No, we don't sell commission products. Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interest first.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, our fees are transparent, structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments.
Nailed it. Just that landing.
All right, so I guess I could just be dense, but I don't get this. If wishes were horses, then beggars would ride.
If wishes
Were horses, then beggars would ride.
beggars have a lot of wishes.
Or they don't have transportation. I don't
They have a lot of wishes, but they don't actually have anything to show for it.
I don't know.
If wishes were I put in if wishes, and that was the first thing that came up. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride is a proverb and a nursery rhyme first recorded about 1628 in a collection of Scottish proverbs, which suggests if wishing could make things happen, then even the most destitute people would have everything they wanted.
Yeah, okay. It still doesn't. It's
No, I mean, it makes sense. It's saying that, like, all right, if you're one of those people that says, I wish I had, but never actually does anything, you don't have anything. Well, it was the 1628 Scottish version of poop in one hand and wish in the other and see which fills up first.
that at least makes sense.
It's the same thing.
Ah.
If a wish was a horse, then beggars who beg for horses would ride. It makes sense, Lonzo.
I just question.
proverb from the early 1600s.
Yes.
That's the kind of stuff you miss when you don't join us on the stream, ladies and gentlemen.
It's sent to me via email, depending on who you are, from down the hall.
By the way, he didn't tell me what was in the email. He just asked me if that proverb made sense. And I said, yes, it does.
Not.
But I called it speculatively before. Twitter trending topics.
Old proverbs are dumb. Dave Grohl is trending right now.
I don't know, but it's a good reason.
All right, so here's why Dave Grohl. Remember the little girl Mandy that well last
the little
night
drummer, she's incredible.
Last night she played live on stage with them.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a video.
That's awesome. Good for her, dude. She is an absolute whiz.
I couldn't hear. Man, I knew and I didn't write it down.
All right.
So,
Well, I know what I'm doing when we get off the air.
all right, the next thing that's trending is Scott Zolak.
I am just over on the day today. What is Zolak do?
It's a rough day as far as
Okay.
Twitter trending topics goes because people are waiting for football.
Yeah.
All right, he says that Cam Newton is distracted by rap music. Scott Zolak is a former NFL quarterback. Come on now, it's radio. People can.
Say.
Correct. It's too easy to go there.
Make it wrong.
Now,
That is dumb.
on his football career, then it would make sense. But I don't believe that's what it is. I could be wrong.
Zolak told 98.5 The Sports Hub, quote, "I'd turn off the rap music, first of all, because I think it's distracting for Cam. In between every throw, he's dancing," end quote.
No, that goes back.
Mass things from dumb people in football. Auburn's coach yesterday, the new one, Brian Harston, said, and this is true, he has a sign on the elevators in the multiple-story Auburn Fieldhouse that says elevators are for injured players only. Healthy players will take the stairs. Then said he goes up and down the flights of stairs multiple times every single day because it's good for you, which it's one of those things that, like, technically, in principle, it is correct. Walking up and down stairs is better for you than taking the elevator. But what a galaxy brain, coach brain thing to do. Because, as I said on Twitter yesterday, do you know what my recruiting pitch to every kid considering Auburn is if I'm Mississippi State or Mississippi or Alabama or Tennessee or Georgia? You can use the elevator. That's it. It's just the gif of Andy Bernard from The Office dancing in the elevator. That's my whole recruiting pitch to them. Stop saying dumb things. You don't have to always be hyper super serious football dude. Turn off the rap music because you're dancing makes you a bad quarterback. Go back to the farm, you yuck. What a joke. Mark Ryan, Diesel, up next on Offsides. Make sure you stay tuned for that. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. Have a great weekend of college football, boys and girls. We'll see you back here on Monday to do it all over again on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate later, brother.